just a ride. Whoa, oh, it's just a ride.
Feliz Three assholes on a podcast, Dad. I didn't think that through, but
no, you did not.
It's all right.
I can barely hear you because my headphones aren't turned up all the way, I guess.
I don't even think they're on, dude.
Is this number, what the fuck number are we on? 26?
26, and I got nothing for 26.
I don't
It's
have
1
it.
foot over the 25-foot rule.
You know,
So maybe I can shoot you before you can stab me.
Jeez.
There you go.
Fair enough.
I let you guys go on and on about your sports ball.
Yeah, what do you got for
number
us?
25
What Pokemon is this?
You know, it just occurred to me that with a little bit of planning, our 25 could have been correlated to like Christmas, right? The 25th of December. So
Damn it.
But it wasn't the Christmas episode.
Now,
so, yeah.
is this really a Christmas episode? I don't think so.
Well,
we're going to talk about Christmas.
This is about as Christmas as Just a Ride is going to get, fuckers.
Or as we could get, because we're just going to talk about stuff. And we're talking about Christmas as part of it. So fucking. I guess we could sing Christmas songs.
It's not any different from what we normally do,
right.
to be honest.
I think we talked about Christmas last week. So that was a Christmas fuck. Hi, guys.
Hello.
What's going on?
How you been?
Good.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
It's been,
a shorter minute than usual.
No,
It's been a couple days.
We had the movie night.
Yeah, which was...
That was fun.
That was a fucking
I had a
barrel of
blast.
monkeys.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
We didn't pause that movie one time. We just talked.
I got a
all
little
through.
tipsy. I think I stayed at Zach's house until about 4 a.m.
We hung out
just
for a while.
sobering up and
We were pretty close to soup sandwich.
yeah.
Yeah, I was soup sandwich too. That was a fun night though. I can't remember most of it, but I remember I had fun.
Yeah.
And I just sat in the couch.
I remember
my little hole that I made.
I remember watching very little of the movie.
Yeah. There was a
Well,
lot.
it really what I mean, it's really kind of let's put a movie on, but really what we want to do is interact with other people.
There
were 4 or
let's be
5 people
honest
that were
about
like, "I paid for this movie, you fuckers. I'm watching. What the fuck?"
They
What
muted
the-
us just to watch the movie. Like, look at these ass clowns. What are they doing?
That was
Shut up.
That was the Just a Ride equivalent of Netflix and chill. Like the movie's not the point.
Right. We just chilled all over the place.
The movie's
All
just
over.
the prop in the background.
Right. It's the excuse.
It was fun though. It was a.
I had a great time.
Have we guaranteed a Valentine's Day one? Because I think that would be fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Do a rom-com.
Destroy the rom-com.
Yeah.
Rom-com.
Crom.
What's a rom-com you'd want to see as a group?
I don't want to see any of them. That's why if it's on, I'm going to destroy
You
it.
gotta have. There's a couple of them that are great.
The last one, the only one I can name off the top of my head, I said that night, Hope Floats. That's
Hope
the only
Floats?
one I know because I was forced to watch it about 30 years ago or whenever it came out.
Okay, let's not watch that one. I don't even.
You guys ever seen Warm Bodies?
No.
I've seen a lot of Cold Bodies.
It's a zombie themed rom-com.
No.
It's actually not bad. Shut up, Jeff. You'd like it.
Don't like zombies either.
No, I do. Well, no, that's not true. It's not that I don't like zombies.
Does everyone know that Jeff's he does not like sci-fi. He does not like fantasy.
Jeff
He makes
doesn't
fun of
like-
us for our
Jeff doesn't like fun.
things that come out of like.
I do like fun, but my fun is my idea of fun. Most people are like, "Oh, fuck that! I'm not going to do that."
Yeah,
Anything that
that's 'cause
comes
you
out of
never had fun as a
imagination
child.
land, it's like fuck your imagination. It's
Did
kinda
you
what
did you
get
see
from
my
Jeff.
day yesterday?
I did. It was awesome.
Okay, that was a lot of imagination. What do you want to do? Let's go have a date. Look, I'm going to get this backpack. I'm going to load it full of guns and ammo.
Zero
I
hobbits.
got water and I got a stove.
All real things.
Just
You don't have
awesome
to imagine-
shit. We went. We had booze. We had food.
Tactical planning is not okay.
I think you're
it's a part of
confusing imagination
imagination
with
but-
creativity.
Yeah, it's like it's part of the ingredients.
Imagination would have came in if you said you did all that and then you went out to hunt pretend zombies in the woods with all that shit.
Or you were wearing a wizard hat and you were fighting. You know,
Jeff's looking at us like, you fucking...
Imagination would be like, this story doesn't exist. Let's make it exist.
but that's
with characters that don't exist, or maybe do, but let's give them traits that don't. And
no, I really want something to try and kill me, just to see how I do. I don't want to just pretend.
But there's time for both.
Hence
right?
why I got married so many times.
Zing!
Wow. All right then. Well, shit. Well, so Christmas. What does it mean to you guys? That's what we're talking about to start this bullshit off, and then we'll get to our police story. But
Christmas
when you think of Christmas
is funny, man, to me, because I've never super cared for it. Like, I had a couple of nice Christmases with my family growing up, and not my extended family, just like my dad and stepmom, and we all just kicked it in the living room and exchanged gifts. And like, I understand the charm of that, and I appreciate those memories. Barring that, though, Christmas is a weird thing because it's like, okay, it was a pagan holiday going back before it was a religious holiday, and then it was a religious holiday.
Saturnalia Sex Fest. I think.
Yeah, it was a religious holiday. Well, it was a lot of different. It's easy to say
many
it was
things.
a pagan holiday. It was several different pagan traditions that all just happened to be like, yeah, this time of year because it's the solstice. They just paid attention to those patterns.
Would you call it a Saturnalia sex? Like, so you light one of those mosquito candles and
Not citronella, dude.
Keeps them right away so you can have more sexy time.
I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to bring one to that party.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's good. I mean, yeah.
But yeah, so then it was a religious thing, and then it kind of became this like battle between it being a religious thing and a corporate thing.
Yeah,
which
fair.
is where we're still at. And I'm just like, and all of it was silly, really. Like it was all just an excuse to party to some degree, you know. And it's still kind of that,
Which is
but-
okay. We work hard.
What's
And
the
it's good to
classic
chill.
movie about? Is it just called A Christmas Story, where the husband and wife broke his shit, but Christmas is coming, so they try to get one kind thing for each other. And she's got this lovely hair, and he has this watch that he really likes, but it doesn't have a band. So he goes and sells the watch to get her these hair clips or whatever the fuck they're called for hair.
And
To
she
put in
cuts
her
her
hair. She
hair.
cuts her hair off to get him this a watch band.
Yeah. I
I could.
Sounds like the real problem with their marriage is communication.
It's big time. Big time.
No,
Moral of the story is text each other more. Just text each other more.
I think there's a combination of showing, genuine love and caring for somebody. So I wanted to do this for you, and I sacrificed this. But it also shows that pressure of having to buy a gift and the marketing that's involved in it.
So yesterday for the David Angus show, I actually came out today, but I did a little bit of quick research on the economics of Christmas, and it said that on average people spend around $900+ on the holiday gifts, food, the whole thing. That's what they plan on spending in 2022 for Christmas this year's $9. I would punch who's spending what?
Right.
No. I mean, I'm just looking at it with my finances. I'm like, no,
to have
no one's doing
large
that.
disposable income.
Right. Even when I did, no. What are we buying? Come on. But I guess my kids are grown.
We kind of talked about this a little bit off mic, but you guys were highlighting that it's a little different when there's kids in the equation because
$330 a kid is what, or $300 a kid is what they're saying.
So you get
like,
like a box of chalk and.
It's easy for somebody who doesn't have a
about it. Pocket the
kid.
rest.
It's easy for somebody who doesn't have a kid to look at that and go, just don't. But when you have a kid, it's like, yeah, but motherfucker, every other kid,
You got to listen to him talk
every
every
other
day,
kid
all
in
the time.
America is getting Christmas presents of some type, unless they're in a cult.
Right.
You know,
Or homeschooled.
and who wants their kid to feel like they're in a cult when they're not in a cult?
Well, they don't
want
call it
them
a
to-
cult. They call it religion.
Well, sure.
Whoa. Shots
It
fired.
only becomes that when the
not
main
really.
dude dies. That's when it becomes a religion.
Right.
So what was Christmas to you growing up, Zach, as a single child?
As a single child, fun time. It was fun. My parents went all out, or my dad hated it like you. Actually, he was bah humbug, but my mom was like super into it, like too far into it.
Your
like
mom
spent-
she was that about life in general.
Dude, yeah. Well, we had a pet store and we had our house, and so she would take all of the things that were available at stores to buy to put up to show that you liked Christmas, and she put them all up at once. And sometimes it looked nice. Sometimes it looked like whatever store that was that had all of the decorations threw up on our house. or on our store.
That's like feeling like you have a cold, so you just take all the medicine.
For
all the things, just in case.
That's that's probably how I am too. Who knows? I don't know how I'm seen, but yeah, Christmas was weird, but it's fun. Always got the presents you're supposed to get. You know, all that crap. They always were like, "Oh, it's Nintendo time. Here's your Nintendo, kid." You know, here's blah blah blah. So it was nice.
It's cool. You profited.
I did
from the corporate.
I did, but
tradition.
then my mom died on Christmas, like the day after Christmas, basically Christmas night, and then my grandma died Christmas Eve when I was younger.
So you get a little nervous every time it's Christmas.
Yeah, I keep looking at like some of my older family members, like, I love you lots. Please stop dying.
But I didn't buy you a present because I'm not sure if you're going to be here after night.
Well, I like long ago established with everybody who's close to me that I just don't buy presents for any holiday. Like if it's your birthday or your wedding anniversary or Christmas, I'm not going to buy a present.
Nothing's coming from me.
I will get you a present just randomly because I feel like it.
Fuck yeah.
And I do.
That's fine.
And I take great joy from it, but I've just established, I'm like, I don't expect to receive anything, and I won't feel bad if you get me something and I don't have something for you, so that's something, be it on your head. But, and it's served me well, but as was pointed out to me, I don't have children, so I have that luxury.
Right, which is one of the nice luxuries, for sure. Because, yeah, Christmas now is like, when you shop for kids, it becomes a little bit a different kind of stress, because you do have to kind of know some things. Like, okay, the kids are going to talk about this shit at school, and there's going to be repercussions if you got something stupid. Don't get stupid
Right.
things. Get passable things. It's like it has SpongeBob on it. It's like, that's still kind of stupid, but it's SpongeBob.
I got an avocado for Christmas.
Exactly.
Timmy, what?
Timmy's getting the shit kicked out of Timmy today.
You know-
Sorry, Timmy.
You said that I hate Christmas, and
No, what does it mean to you? We were going
Okay.
around the horn.
Christmas okay, and you're kind of right. I don't like the
You were
commercialism
bah
of it.
fucking earlier.
I don't like the commercialism of it. I'm not a Jesus guy, but I like the idea that it's a family. It's time to recognize the people that are important to you in your life, maybe even repair some relationships at that time, and have a sit down and spend some time together, which I have historically throughout my life been really shitty at that on holidays. But as a kid growing up, I had split parents. All I remember is the parents having arguments on the phone over who was going to get who when, who was going to drive who where, and then there being issues with someone who was late because of weather, and it was just kind of a clusterfuck.
So it's
growing
chaos,
up.
and
Yeah, it was always
fucking
chaos. So I spent
animosity.
the majority of my career, I'm the guy that's going to step up and go to work so other people can see their kids, because it wasn't important to me. Maybe it was the wrong thing to do looking back, but but now that I have the time, I'm so looking forward to being able to spend time with my family. Now that I have kids, I'm like, I get a whole new person. I get to try this again.
Yeah.
I get, and I do want to do. Stockings was always my favorite though, because it's always the stupidest shit that you get.
Yeah.
But it was always so much fun.
Dude, I love
To,
this.
you
I
know.
still love the stocking. That's
But
the
even
best part.
if you're in my life and I buy you a gift, then I'm probably not going to give you a frivolous gift. I'm going to give you a gift probably that has to do with something that I like to do, because I'm saying I like you. I want to spend time with you. Let me go show you some cool shit. So, here's a pair of boots because we're going to go hiking. That's more who I am as far as gifts go. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I think that's who a lot of people are as far as gifts go, if they're being honest.
Yeah.
They're just like, I got you this because I want to do it with you.
Yes, come on. Enjoy this. One time you got me a kick-ass microphone. I remember that. I still use it all the time. It's
Yeah, and you make me music. It's awesome.
fucking A.
Worked out great.
Happy to do
Hey,
it.
look at that. And now I get to talk to you all the time on microphones.
True. Although not the same
Not that
microphones.
one, but-
but fucking, it's the,
Yeah.
fuck, God damn it. All right.
Cool. Quit jerking each other off.
I don't
So
know.
it is, when you mentioned people fighting over who gets to go where for Christmas and everything, that's always been so strange to me, because it's like, just hop out if you want to have everybody over for dinner, do it on a different day. Like, is it everybody has to do it on Christmas? Like, why are we fighting about this?
Right,
Like,
right. And then there's
can we just-
congestion in the streets.
Can we
and
just
the
draft
subways
an
suck.
email to the whole family and be like, okay, this day we're doing it here, this day we're doing it, just
Well,
like-
and I
It
got
does
to
feel
see
funny.
how joyful everybody's home is when I worked Christmas too, as in law enforcement. It's exactly what you would think it would be.
Feliz
People get together.
Navidad.
Not
they hate
everybody's
They
just
hate
having
each
a
other,
great-
and like, this is why we don't do this, but once a year, because someone is going to get in a fight.
It's kind of manufactured stress for sure.
Yeah.
Do you,
Well-
I have a little tradition that I've done for most of my adult life. I do it on the day of the solstice just because it's a turning of the seasons, and I was just like, okay, I mean, it seems like as good a time as any to do it, but like, rather than, I wanted to, because I appreciate the spirit of certain Christmas time things, but I kind of wanted to take it as a opportunity to sort of take stock of myself for the year and set intentions for the next year. So every year I'll carve out a couple of hours and I'll sit down in the evening. I'll shut off all the electronics in my house and turn off my phone so there's nothing to distract me, and I'll sit down on my floor with pen and paper and I'll write down a page of things that I want to leave behind that I don't want to carry with me to the next year, and then things that I want to like nurture and cultivate.
So you do your New Year's resolution.
Yeah,
6
but it's
days
not.
early.
But it's not like I'm gonna work out this year. It's like deep introspective kind of shit.
Just let me be a dick about it.
No, shut up. I'm being genuine. You
I
have
know
to
you-
fuck
I
off
know.
for 10
Sorry.
seconds. And then and then I'll sit there and I'll read it, and I'll take a picture of it so that I don't forget, and then I take it outside and I burn it.
Nice.
Because I'm just like, it's like, this is me letting that shit go.
No, that's actually super good, healthy shit.
Yeah,
I think so too.
yeah.
The fact that you choose Christmas is actually kind of interesting in some ways.
Well, it's the solstice. It's the winter solstice.
Yeah, I mean the winter solstice is kind of
So the day
if
time
you pay
we
attention
always-
to that. But yeah, I always do it on the solstice. But I picked that day intentionally. I don't go super hard in the paint on like I celebrate every pagan holiday and I'm a contrarian, like it's not about that. It's just I like the notion of the winter solstice because it's when the light dies and you're kind of squaring up to settle with the darkness until the light comes back, and that the idea is you don't want to take any extra baggage into that darkness that you don't have to, because then you're going to have to carry it all through the dark times, and that's when it weighs you down the most.
It's almost like it's our last little bit of pleasure before this long trek through shit.
Right.
Sludgy, dark, cold. People are miserable. All right.
So that's part of why I picked it, and it just happens to coincide with when everybody's doing their Christmas shit, and it gives me an excuse to be like, I'm celebrating too. I'm just doing my own thing.
It's like he's starting fires.
Yeah, people
Should we keep an eye on him?
don't fucking bug me as much because they're just like, Shaiden, you can't be alone for Christmas. I'm like, I'm fine. Like I don't need your stress.
Shit, right?
I don't need the pressure of coming to dinner.
I call my parents on Christmas Day, and then that's the extent of my Christmas activities.
I don't know. My parents, I've talked about this a little bit this year, but my mom would bring both of my families together, and that was the weirdest thing because it was all the different people that didn't really like each other. It was like divorced families and stuff. She would invite both the couples, and it was just like, what the fuck's going on? It was this big thing that they would do every year, and for some reason they would come. I think my mom pressured them like she did with me, to where I would just do stuff where I'm like, okay, fine, goddamn, please.
She pressured
Jesus
or
Christ.
she lied. One of the two.
One of the two. And dumb family stuff, and hate dumb family. Anyway, yeah, my mom would bring them all together, and it was the weirdest thing because it was people that I'd never seen, like from the whole year would go by. They live in other states and stuff, and they'd come see. It was weird. It was like family reunion shit at my house every Christmas. And I didn't like it. And they didn't like it either.
Do you have any funny family reunion memories though?
So many, like getting hooked in the neck with a fishing hook. I mean, that's probably why I don't like to fish. It's because of fishing with my family.
Tell that one. I want to hear one.
I was just
I got
a little
one, so
kid.
I'll swap you. I'll trade you mine for yours.
Well, this wasn't Christmassy, but it was one of our family reunions.
Okay.
And we're just out there. This is the Krakenberg side of my family, and there's like thousands of them or some shit. That's what I remember, was just seas of these people that were my blood. And a couple of them were like, hey, come fishing. And I'm like 5. I don't know. I'm like, all right, I don't even know how to swim.
You're like, I don't drive.
All the things I don't do. But I remember just the feeling of having the hook in my neck.
You haven't lived until your father's hooked you with a fly at least once.
Right.
That's what life is about, right?
It definitely felt, I mean, and the panic of the adults around me and stuff was pretty interesting and stuff. It's like, all right, so these guys aren't in control. Nobody's in control here. This is interesting. It just smells of Budweiser and fucking gravy.
We didn't plan for this. You're ruining my high.
Fucking, it was awesome. I love those guys.
It's like my primary memory we went to family reunions around Christmas time with my dad's side of the family for a fair number of years, and I went some as a young adult, just of my own volition. I went and flew down there and went to them, and I stopped doing it because I was just like, this is just it's kind of a silly thing to travel for.
Right.
But this one year I had gone down there. Before I tell this story, my primary memory of these family reunions was either my grandpa or one of my uncles setting down like a gallon bottle of Pendleton whiskey on the little bar top in this like apartment hangout place that we all did it in, and they're like, all right, belly up, Hutchmans, and we just everybody get on their lips on Pendleton.
Oh my god, that's out of a Tolkien book or some shit.
Yep. So it was like I had flown down there. My cousin Jamie bought me a plane ticket, and I flew down there, and I spent the night at my Uncle Eric's, my dad's little brother. I'm outing him right now too, but I spent the night there. It was fine. This is uncle stuff. It's pretty standard, but I spent the night there, and then the day of the family reunion, I'm hanging out at his house, and I was like, I had blossomed as a stoner at this point. When I was younger, my Uncle Eric would be like, "Do you smoke weed?" And I'd be like, "Oh yeah, like once in a while, And then I would just like get smoked to death,
Right.
But this time I was prepared. I was like, "Oh, Eric doesn't even know, man. I'm heavy duty now. Like I can roll with the big dogs." So I'm talking mad shit about my weed tolerance and stuff, and then he's like, "Well, come up here and smoke with us before we go." And I was like, "All right, bet." So we go up there and they start firing up a butane torch, and I'm like, "I have not smoked weed with a gigantic butane torch. What are you guys doing?" Like,
I've never seen white marijuana. What is
Yeah,
that?
they're
It comes
like
in powder form.
they're like, "We're doing dabs. Have you ever done a dab?" I was like, "I don't know what that is." And they were like, "Oh, we'll do you a dab. It'll get you good." And I'm like, "Okay, sure." First timer over here. My fucking cousin Erica loaded up the fattest dab. Like even later when I was doing dabs like multiple times a day, they did me dirty, man. Like it was a fat dab, and I was like, "All right, what do I do?" And they're like, "Well, we're gonna set it on there, and then just one big breath, and then let it out." And I was like, "Okay." So I did. And anybody who's done dabs for the first time ever in their life, it was a fucking experience for me. Like I was like, "This is not marijuana. This is a hallucinogen."
Yeah.
Like I was down in his living room after where I was done coughing myself to death, and I was like, "I'm fucking Tony Stark from the waist down. My legs are Iron Man," And I'm walking around just completely gone. And it felt like 2 seconds later, my uncle goes, "You ready to go?" And I was like, "Go where?" And he's like, "We got to go to the reunion, dude." And I was like,
"You got to drive."
I was I can't do that. And he's like, "Come on, get in the truck." So we go.
Come on, Tony Stark.
We go. We stop at a gas station. He's like, "You want anything?" And I was like, "I don't want to sit here alone. I'll die." So I go into this gas station, and then I'm like looking at the clerk behind the counter, and I'm just like, "He knows." Got the fuck out of there. Went to the spot where we were having our family reunion. I'm still flying. I'm walking up the sidewalk, and there's two people walking towards us, and this little old lady gets all excited and starts waving at me and calling my name, and I'm like grabbing my uncle. I'm like, "Who the fuck is that?" And he's like, "That's your grandma, dude. Get your shit together." I was like, "Oh no,
I am way too high. I don't remember grandma.
And I thought I was trying so hard to play it off. I thought I was pretty sly, but I found out later. No, I mean, there's just my eyes bleeding to death. Were probably
They're like, "You embarrassed the family."
Everybody knew.
We're all pretty disappointed. Nobody expects anything more from you now.
My grandma, to her credit, didn't say a damn word. She just let me be a stoned little goofball.
It's like, I was stoned at one point.
But
too.
yeah, my uncle got me so stoned I forgot who my grandma was.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
That's a fucking good Christmas.
That was my Merry Christmas.
Christmas dabs. Did you? For me, like knife hits was kind of, that's basically dabs in a sense, right?
It's in
that made me feel like
same family.
Yeah, made me feel like I pissed my pants. That's how high I got the first time I did knife hit, and that's how I felt with dabs. I was like, I kept looking down, like, it feels that sensation, but I don't smell it. It's not wet.
That experience put me off dabs for a long time, but I got to a point later in my stoner career where I was like, dabs was all I was like, that's all I want. Like,
I know tons of people that are like 10 a day, 30 a day. Fuck you.
I was never that bad.
Yeah, they didn't know what a dab was when I was in that situation where I could smoke weed.
There was no concentrate.
Pre-cop. Yeah,
I know I probably said this here, but when we were doing Spokane Hempfest, we'd go to Seattle Hempfest and watch like the big event be done and stuff like that. And every year they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna get this shit legalized." Then I went away, and then I came back, and I went to another one, and it had been legalized, and dabs were a thing, and it was just kind of new. And I remember the same speakers that were like, "We're gonna get this shit legalized." They were up there. They're like, "Look, we've had lots of time with flour. The dab thing, I mean, come on, just calm down a little bit." Like the speakers from Hempfest, it was just this weird thing where it's like everybody was like, "Well, let's just pump the brakes a little bit. We don't have any data on this. But flour is probably fine for the rest of your life." But yeah, fucking 80 dabs a day. I don't know. Yeah. We don't know yet.
Well,
you guys keep trying for us. Let us know how the data pans out.
The data's starting to bear it out. I mean, I haven't heard of a single person overdosing from dabs. So
still doing the normal marijuana things. So still not crack, still not uranium, still not.
Jeff, do you ever do a dab? Because you said it didn't exist before.
Fuck yeah.
You've done dabs? Nice.
Yeah.
Did it make you feel like you pissed your pants
No,
or
not
have
at all.
Tony Stark legs?
No, it wasn't a big deal, really.
Just like it didn't even work on me. Dabs don't. Marijuana doesn't
Jeff's
affect
fucking
Jeff.
going
You gotta remember
full
how much I
Elon
used to
Musk
drink.
over here. You know you have to inhale it, right?
I got a glimpse of a little bit of Angus and Jeff right there.
No big deal.
Jeff doesn't even get that kind of fucking. I don't get inebriated when I don't want to. You can introduce it to my system, but it won't unless I say so.
It's kind of how it works sometimes.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I think our next movie night that we do, you just have to be Dave and or Angus for the whole time.
Sounds fun.
We'll have movie night with Dave and Angus.
I feel
So if anybody just did the math on that, they can figure out what I just said. But I'll let
what? Wait, what?
I said if anyone just did the math on that last little conversation, they can just figure out what I just said.
How so? What'd I miss?
Never mind. I'll tell you later. We'll let people figure it out.
That's for the listeners.
oh,
You
great.
missed it.
It's
Zach.
for the listeners.
It wasn't
Now
for
I'm
you.
an ass for. All right. Well, fair
Dabs
enough.
didn't exist before I was a cop.
Of course.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I see. Of course not. Yeah.
But
Good
you were a
math.
great cop. Always play by the rules.
Always play by the rules.
You couldn't even say that without laughing.
All right. Well, speaking of that, it's police story time.
Is it time?
It's time. Police story.
Wow. Good damn guys. Be there.
Oh wait. No, too far.
Okay, so in the Christmas spirit, I thought I would tell a Christmas story.
Christmas story. Police story.
Stand down.
Get to.
So this was over 20 years ago, working in the Yakima Valley, and again, it was one of those times when people wanted Christmas off to spend time with their kids. It wasn't really part of my life to do that, so I'm like, hey, I'll work overtime.
Double. Overtime. Fuck, right?
Yeah, it's double time and half shift.
Shit, double time and a half?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
going to work that.
Fuck yeah.
It started at 6 in the morning.
That's just solid economics.
It was supposed to end at
Yeah.
2 in the afternoon, but needless to say, probably didn't work out that way. So my first call of the day, this woman calls in and she says, this is not very Christmassy. I just walked in on my husband fucking my 12-year-old daughter.
Thanks.
Yeah, so that's how my day started on Christmas that year.
So was he dead?
Damn.
He was not. But
Shame.
It's getting there.
so I get there and I hear her screaming and yelling for help inside the house. So I boot the door, go in, and she's laying on the floor and there's blood all over the ground. And I see that like her leg is missing from below the knee and bleeding.
Who's like?
The woman, the caller, the mom.
No shit.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I'm like, holy shit, what happened? Well, and then I realized, I'm like, where's the rest of your leg? She's like, well, I don't have it. What had happened was this piece of shit having sex with his 12-year-old daughter. Mom calls to get him arrested, and he's like, well, if I'm going to go to jail, I'm going to make it worth it because rape of a child isn't enough, apparently.
Right.
So her leg was actually amputated just
Right.
below the knee, so she had this
Prosthetic.
little... She had this little nubbin a couple inches down, and he kicked that thing and snapped it off, and it compound fractured through her skin.
Oh.
Yeah, and he had left the house, obviously ran away, but then, to my surprise, he came back just to get arrested.
Wow.
And go to jail. And he's like,
fuck, dude.
it's just a
Merry Christmas, you guys, from Just a Ride.
Admitted to the rape, admitted to the assault.
Is there
and
a
he's
way
like-
we could have
he's like-
warned you?
And
Yeah,
he just
probably.
wanted to go to prison. He's like, yep, I want to go. That's where I belong.
No, he probably belongs somewhere else, like fucking
Hell,
under the prison.
probably.
Yeah,
Yeah, hell,
somewhere
yeah.
way down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if there
on
was
a
one.
torture rack under my knife, preferably, that'd be a good spot.
Yeah.
to
Anyway,
start.
so that's how my day started. Got him in the back of the car, and I'm driving back to the station to get him put into jail and start on my paperwork because I'm in such a good mood. And I'm at a stop sign, and there's cars lined on the road just like any other neighborhood. And I just catch out of the corner of my eye, there's this parked car, and this little head comes up. And it was like I could feel somebody looking at me, and somebody looks at me, and I look at them, and they duck back down. I'm
Meerkat.
like, that's not normal. So I throw my car into park and go over there. Because one of our little bangers had broken into somebody's car and was stealing their stereo. He saw me rolling up the road, tried to hide, and popped up to look see if I could clear the stop sign yet. So I had to run over and arrest him and threw him in the back with that dude.
Fucking. Wow.
Bad day to steal a stereo.
Yeah.
So I got those two in custody. Do all the jail shit with him, and I'm writing the report. And then I get a call of a robbery that just happened at the end of town at this little stop and rob place, so to speak.
Stop it.
It's like a little plaid pantry, and it was the same one I talked about where the dude tried to rob it, but he didn't have. He tried to string the bow before he robbed the place.
Right.
And I walked in on same place,
All right.
same employee.
The person could write a book, probably.
Yeah, so he had this whole story that these two guys came in with guns and took all the cash from the safe, took all the cash out of the cash register. There was some shit knocked on the ground. Of course, back then it was VCR tapes, and like, well, do you have it recorded? Well, of course they took the tapes.
I forgot to rewind it.
And there was he just didn't have the right demeanor for that kind of call. So I'm like, well, obviously we got to do a whole investigation, get fingerprints and everything. I'm like, was there anybody else here? Any other witnesses? No. I'm like, so that's your car out in the parking lot? Yeah. I said, well, just to rule out any type of, foul play or anything, we always start with searching that car just to say, absolutely, you're good to go. And I could see he just started sweating.
That's where all the stuff is.
His top lip just got really wet really quick. I'm like, so you don't have a problem with that? He's like, well, okay. Because he's still trying to look innocent. And of course, in the trunk of his car, he had the videotapes, he had all the cash. So then I had to arrest him and then find someone
in the back of the
had to find someone to come close up the store and get it locked for the day. So I shut Plaid Pantry down or whatever the hell it was in the town for that.
And they're probably happy that you did for that.
Yeah. So I've got lots of paperwork to do. And now swing shift came on. There's two guys. Now the domestic violence are, people fighting over fruit salad. And, the wife didn't like her gifts, so she, hit her husband in the head with a club. Shit like that. And I'm about
people do.
I'm about 16 hours into a shift now with all this paperwork. And then a shooting comes out across the street at a bar at about, I don't know what time it was. I'd been there a long time. It was, getting into the evening. People were already done with their Christmas stuff, so now it's time to go out and drink and shoot pool and be with your buddies
or shoot one another.
Right.
And it was a triple. It was some dude got kicked out of the bar, got pissed, got to the door, and just turned around and started shooting. Shot 3 people.
Jeez.
And the other 2 guys were busy with their calls, so I got stuck with that. On overtime, late.
Yeah. Way at the end of your shift, basically. And
then I finally called the assistant chief. I'm like, I need help. None of our detectives were available, and we didn't have very many of them at that agency anyway. Like, can you please come down and help me? He's like, yeah, the chief and I will come on down and help you. They ordered food. They ordered food from the Mexican restaurant right next to our police department, brought it over to the bar where I was at, sat at a table, and they just stuffed their face full of food and watched me work and diagram the whole scene. I was close to a 24-hour day that day as well.
Damn.
And that was my Christmas. So,
Merry Christmas, you filthy
maybe it would have been
animal.
better to spend some time with my family.
Yeah.
That's what I learned out of that.
Yeah. Well, now you have a whole new... You can do that now.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a double time and a half rate that could be worth me putting up with everything you just described.
If I knew that going into
I
it,
had
I'd be
more
like,
happen in one day than most people see as severe calls in their whole career.
Yeah, that first one's enough to be like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore. So,
well, Getch, I love you, but you are a psycho magnet. So.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. In many ways.
The data bears it out.
well, at least you put it to a practical use, and you're like, let it come to me, and I can put him in jail. Fucking worked out great.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yes, no? All right. Well, let's try some other weird things, shall we?
Okay.
Something a little more silly.
Let's try some weird things. Let's get weird, boys.
These are going to be silly, though. Top 3 island albums, if you know what I mean. The albums that you must take on an island with you if you could only have 3 things.
Oh, to listen to for the
eternity of your life.
2 weeks I survived, depending on the island it is.
I'll be there for like an hour, so I just need one album.
Island's pretty high up on my list of like if I had to survive somewhere. Like islands, you could do it on an island.
Yeah, way better than a tundra, an Arctic tundra.
Yeah.
Like Jeff wants to go to Alaska and see what he can do up there. That's the hardest place probably is to do. What is the hardest place to survive? And then take your
Antarctica.
favorite 3 albums. Yeah, it would be, right?
Yeah,
Or North
it's got to
Pole.
be places of extreme exposure, like either.
But there's nothing
really,
to do up there except for take core samples of ice,
Yeah,
Is there
really gnarly deserts or really like crazy expanses of tundra.
Or on the lip of a fucking volcano.
Yeah.
People build their shit right
or
next
in
to
a
them.
shitty marriage for
Well,
30 years.
Those are the
any
four
form of
terrible
any form
environments.
of Mother Nature can kill you at some point. So
Guess so. Yeah, having a nice beach property doesn't always work out too.
No.
Yeah, no shit. All right, so the 3 albums. I don't even know. I haven't even thought about it. I
Let's
suck at
see.
these things too. So
Jim Croce's greatest hits,
okay.
Blind Melon, their first album, whatever the
Yeah.
hell it's called, and I'll probably do something from Brian Upchurch so I can have some upbeat to exercise to.
Fucking A. Noise. There's no metal there. I guess kind of with Upchurch, but no metal.
Yeah, no,
Surprise.
I hate guitar solos.
Whittly whittly.
Breaking my heart, dude.
I'm with them. I don't want to hear it.
I know I'm gonna regret my choices later when I listen to this while I'm editing it, because I'm gonna think of something I can't think of right now, and I'm like, no, you're gonna live without that, you
Yeah.
psychopath.
Don't hold us to
But-
this, because we could probably do a list of 100 and we'd change it the whole time every time.
But off the top of my head, probably Periphery 3, their third self-titled album, just really, really good. There's an album by a guy named David Maxim Michik, who's
Common spelling.
Michik is Micic, I believe. Yeah. This album, I can't remember the name of it, but it's got a song on it called "Who Bit the Moon," and it's just, the whole album's just really, really good. It's all instrumental, but it's just really fucking pretty vibey shit.
Cool.
And number 3, probably I gotta pick something that fucking bangs, man. Maybe Tooth Grinder's most recent album.
Damn.
You realize this list is going to change, if not by the hour, by the mood you're in either day.
It's gonna change 5
every
minutes
day,
from
yeah.
now, dude. Let's be real.
People are going to look it up, though, and they'll be like, all right, Tooth Grinder, fucking A, I'm checking it out.
You ever checked out Tooth Grinders?
I haven't really. Huh.
They're not as crazy as their name makes them sound, but they're really good.
Are they?
Their most recent album is Choice.
How much yelling is there in the songs?
There's some yelling.
Cool. Is there singing, too?
Yeah.
Nice. Are they singing about things that I like or things that I hate?
Well, I would have to be in your fucking brains.
I don't know.
No.
I have only stupid questions because I'm
I find
tired.
out new things you dislike every time we hang out.
It's holidays, goddammit. I'm tired. You do. I know. I have a top 3, right? I don't even know. When I thought about this, I'm like, God, I suck at these so much.
Let me see.
And it's
Zach's
just
gonna
gonna
be
be grunge shit.
gonna be like the Beatles and Mozart and Taylor Swift.
What am I supposed to like?
Those are my
Those are the
guesses.
3 mainstream things that are the least. No, Days of the New 2 is probably one of my favorite albums of all time.
That's how you know me and Zach are both pretentious, moody musicians. We both picked a numbered, self-titled album.
Days of the New, the green, or red. I'd take red too, but green for sure. God, I don't even know. Live, I really do like live. Live Throwing Copper or live Mental Jewelry.
Their first one, whatever that one
Mental
is.
Jewelry.
That's a good one.
It's so good. That helped me want to play music because I got that feeling. But then there's so much metal too, like Metallica.
Yeah, that feeling coming back again.
What's that? Yeah. Oh. A little half chub.
Can you feel it?
Can you feel it? And also Lorena McKennitt, Greatest Hits. I would want to, if I had to pick only one album, I'd want that to haunt my days. Be like, okay, everything feels like it's better, like a little more grand. It's like, I'm gonna go fishing, but it's like, no, you're not. You're gonna go fishing and with the fucking sea when you got that shit playing. You're like, I'm gonna fight fucking Poseidon for this fish. I don't know. So Lorena McKennitt, whatever one of those albums is.
Wow.
That's all.
You know,
That's probably my
not
number
one
one.
of us said Sovereign Citizen. That's fucking
Well, you guys play the music.
right.
You can
It's
play
just
it
like we've
all
heard
you
it
want.
enough, bro.
And if
Right,
we're on
yeah,
the
yeah.
same island, I mean, that works.
We
out
can't
for me.
expect him to. He's like, I'm sick of you guys too. I've heard it like way more times than most people. I don't want to.
Like, I was supposed to walk out of here with your new album last time.
Oh, that's right.
Sunday, and that didn't happen.
Oh fuck. Well, dude,
Somebody's upset. It wasn't me.
you got to give me a little. I was a little bit schmaggled by the end of the fucking night, so there was that. All right, so those are the top 3 albums. Let's try top 3 games of all time. We always like doing this to Jeff, but
Video
Jeff
games?
reassured
Video
us
games
that video games,
specifically?
video
Okay.
games.
Oh, that's what I was going to say, because I can name 3 games that nobody.
We could probably do board
Plays at
games
this
in the
table, yeah.
future, but let's just do video games for the Squirm Effect. These are all Atari games, is what we've been reassured.
Are we going to go art? Well, no.
No, just give us your favorite games. They don't have to be Atari. You said that. I doubt they are, but there's a Nintendo in there, or perhaps a PlayStation.
They're actually, yeah, and thinking about it. So I liked to play the baseballs. I like the baseball games.
Me too.
I really do.
They're amazing now too. They're fucking amazing.
I probably wouldn't know how to play them now, but I mean, what's the Nintendo? The first Nintendo, was that the 64? Is that what the
No.
the
NES
one
is
the
no, the
original.
Xbox, the original Xbox? I think
That's
it
not
was.
Nintendo related at
Sorry,
all, bro.
See, that's how I'm all fucked up. Yeah, so there was a baseball game. God, I think it was like 2003 was when I played that, and that was fun.
Yeah,
But I'm sure it's a lot better now.
They are great, yeah.
I really liked Pitfall, but I sucked at it on the Atari. But it was a lot of fun.
I remember Pitfall.
I remember it, but I
Yeah.
remember not being good at it either and frustrating me.
The
I'm like,
Space-
fuck video games.
The Space
like
Invaders I
every
liked
Atari
because there was
Yeah.
112 different versions of how to play it, and I like to play the invisible version. But when you'd hit things, it would light up, and I got pretty good at that. But I was good at Pac-Man too because I figured out the pattern. So I figured I could play all day long and never die because the ghosts had the same pattern on it back in an Atari.
Oh hell yeah!
So
So those are is that your top three?
that's actually four. But
Four?
That's
All right.
that's what I would probably take now.
All right. Are there any games that interest you that you see that are like the AAA games?
There was one when Shaiden lived with me. I really wanted him to get a game so I could watch him play it, and it was a World War II game, but I don't remember what it was called.
I think it was World War One. I'm pretty
Or
sure
was
it
it
was,
World War
it was
One?
Battlefield 1 is what it was. And it was
I saw the commercials for it, and I'm like, dude, you need to buy that game
yeah.
because
I want to just watch.
I would go in his
stopped-
room and sit and watch him play for hours.
Isn't
I'm like,
that fun?
Hey, will you try that? Do that. What does that do? I didn't want to touch the controller. I was just intrigued with.
He was a really
Watching his
entertaining
world.
backseat gamer for sure. 'Cause he was just like,
Go in that room.
do this crazy thing. I'm like, fuck, okay.
I never thought of that. Good. That sounds good to me. Tight.
Yeah,
All right.
I stopped fucking around with first person shooters when they stopped making story modes for them. Like I was like the multiplayer is fun, but it's its own thing, and I understand that's what they're making their money on. But man, I fucking really like just like back in the old like Modern Warfare days, like Modern Warfare 1 and 2.
Yeah, do a
where
campaign.
You could play through the campaign and like hang out with Soap McTavish and fucking be a special forces guy. That was dope. Like as soon as they quit doing that, I was like, well, I'm fucking done with this garbage. Like,
I don't want to play with other people.
Right.
I don't want some kid that's been playing this
Yeah.
14 hours a day for the last 6 weeks. If you're talking shit to me, damn it, no.
Yep.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Except for Destiny, I still play that once in a while, but that's not. Anybody who's serious about first-person shooters is like, Destiny, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Really? So I've never played Destiny, so I don't even know.
Destiny's cool.
Is it? I have it. I have
Be a
Destiny
wizard
2.
in space, dude. What the hell? That's fucking. That checks all the boxes for me.
That should check them all for me. I didn't know that's what that was. All right. Well, I own it, so I should probably play it at some point.
Give it a try. You might like it.
So what are your top 3 games of all time?
This is an awful question, dude.
I know, right? Like I couldn't think.
I think Zelda, specifically Majora's Mask, is probably definitely one of them, which is an unpopular opinion. But
which console
it
or
was 64.
is it okay?
Yeah, N64.
Fuck.
But I've played that game all the way through and done all the side quests probably 6 times in my life.
Shit.
Just because I'll get, like, if I get sick and I'm laid up or something, I'm just like, well, this is my comfort game. I'm just going to sit here and play Majora's Mask.
Damn.
So I was super into that. So that's probably one of them, just because I know I can replay it and not get tired of it. The new God of War, if I'm going to pick a modern day game,
We can play as Jeff.
yeah, play as fucking Kratos all day. That both of those games, the first one, well, not the first one, but of the 2 newest sequels, they're both really, really good. But I'll just take those as a package. Maybe there's fucking. I'll get them in the greatest hits bundle before.
I think you can. That counts. As, yeah. Only one.
And shit, I don't know, man. Probably fucking Minecraft, just because it's like endless.
How much time you put
yeah, it's
into
just
it
like
and
if I have to pick a game, not based upon is it my favorite game of all time? No, but could I play it if it was like, you know, my
Your desert island
yeah,
game.
my brain's still on the desert island. I don't know if that's still a requirement of this question, but if it was, then
Well, it's
then
led to
Minecraft.
these answers probably.
Yeah.
How are you going to run that machine anyway?
How you gonna
That's a
listen
good
to the
question.
album?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, right. We're gonna have to stick our ear to and then just.
I'm gonna have to-
run it around.
Dude, I watched Swiss Family Robinson. Okay,
I watched Gilligan's Island. They made shit happen.
They did.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did, and I wouldn't be able to. But you
Apparently,
guys probably have a better chance.
coconuts generate a ton of energy.
They're like batteries, and they fucking like satellite dishes.
I mean, we're close to Idaho. I mean, the potatoes generate some energy.
There's some.
So
They do.
I don't know how they do it, but fucking somebody will know.
You can grow potatoes fucking anywhere.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Get some dirt.
I'm just
Get
gonna
some
have
water.
a whole field of potatoes powering my Nintendo.
No, nobody can eat my Nintendo potatoes.
They'll find me just totally emaciated and starved to death with my Nintendo hooked to a fucking entire field of potatoes.
The irony of it all.
Instead of buffering, it's mashing or something.
It's like, I didn't have any butter. I didn't seem appealing without the butter. Thanks. Oh, yeah.
All right, Zach, what about
yours?
My games. SimCity. I loved that game. I spent a lot of time playing that game.
Which one?
All the variations. But
okay.
SimCity 2000 to start, and then 3000, I think, was the one that I spent the most time on.
2000 was arguably the best one, I think.
There was one before that I played in school. But yeah, 2000, I think, is the one. Maybe that's the one I spent the most time on. But I ended up, I'd build a big city, and then I'd just pretend I was like some asshole with the satellite. And I just like, now I'm going to blow it up.
Yeah.
And I'd just blow up places, and I didn't even care.
It's the same thing we did with Legos when we were kids.
Exactly.
Just build a big thing so you can wreck it.
Same things we do to our heroes. Build them up to tear them down.
Yeah.
It's just
Way
fucking
to
them.
make it real, Zach.
The human way,
Damn it.
baby. But then everything else, open world. I love the idea of a big sandbox that you can kind of play either first person or third person.
Well, that's a cop-out. You got to pick one.
I know. I'm gonna.
Okay.
But that's the thing. It's very difficult. But, like a Skyrim is rad. I really loved playing Assassin's Creed. Like every one of those is amazing as far as I'm concerned.
I like the way he dresses. I saw the commercials and I like the way he dresses.
Right?
It's pretty cool.
They're all
Reminds me of
pretty
Shaiden, how he dresses.
Right? And fucking
I
A.
wonder where I got it from.
But where did he get it from? But Assassin's Creed Odyssey probably is my favorite of all of those. And then, but Grand Theft Auto fucking 5 has just been a game for 10 years where it's like they haven't improved. I mean, they've made more stuff online, and they're doing what you were talking about, where they're just like focusing where the money is, and they're like, we're not going to make a new. We're just going to keep upgrading what's existing. But goddamn, I mean, if you're just like, man, I had a bad day. What do I want to do? Oh yeah, run people over on this sidewalk with a car that's simulated. Yeah, that sounds good. So.
Yep.
Grand Theft Auto gets it just because the amount of attention to detail. Even though now there's bigger games and there's more, but
I feel that way
something
about,
fun about
Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk has that straight up GTA feel, but it's just like evolved in like a kind of futuristic dystopian.
It looks so cool. I
environment
I didn't dig into it.
Tons of detail. Well, it was janky as fuck.
That's
when
what
it first
happened,
came
right?
out.
So I didn't buy it because
it was super
They
glitchy
fix
when
it?
it first came out, but they've fixed it and they've added a ton to it, and it's ended up being a really, really good fucking game. If you like GTA, you will like Cyberpunk.
I've heard the same thing with No Man's Sky, where it came out and it had all these promises. It was this big, like, computer-generated galaxy where no person would ever discover the same planet, and you can go. It's like computer-generated, so there's animals and shit on these planets that no one's ever seen. Mm-hmm. And they promised all these things because that's really all the Star Wars nerds and Star Trek nerds ever want. Is just like, let me explore space alone and do shit that I want to, like build a house and fucking find aliens and shit. And everybody's so excited, and then it was janky as far as...
It was just empty.
Right.
Like, it was procedurally generated as advertised, but it was just...
Is that what it was? So
variations on the same
nothing
themes,
to do.
and it was super empty, and nothing to do.
But then, like, a year later, or several months later...
They're still developing the hell out of it. It's turned into a really fucking cool game.
Years later now, it's fucking still got a huge community. And
it's been a lot of years since No Man's Sky came out. I think it's been like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, at least. But I remember the excitement of that, and I wish they would just goddamn do a Star Wars, just half that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just give me fucking X-Wings so I can fly through the goddamn galaxy and I'll be happy. I want to land on Dagobah when I want to. Is that fair, Jeff? Don't you want to land on Dagobah?
I don't know what the fuck you're talking
Wake
about.
up,
wanna
Jeff.
land on Dagobah.
I think Jeff nodded off.
I think he did.
During our little nerd fest.
All right, the games. We did talk about doing one more of these, like the 3 nicest people in public. Maybe we could do this as a collective group or something. But
I don't even quite understand what that means.
the public people, famous people,
Not people
today's
in our
world?
personal life.
What's that?
Today's world?
Yeah, anytime. The nicest people that, since you've been alive or that you've ever heard of, people that come across as the nicest. So my example would be like a guy like Mr. Rogers. I think most people...
That was going to be my number one answer.
Okay,
Yeah.
fucking Mr. Rogers. Or Steve Irwin, which is on both. I think Shaiden's on.
He's on my
his
list for sure.
I would say Robin Williams would be one of those people, kind of thing.
All right, well, all those people are dead.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're all... Yeah, which goes into the other one. You had one more question on that, right?
Didn't I? I don't know.
It was...
Oh yeah. We could just go right into that since those are the people. But is there any one you want to add?
I don't know. So my brain immediately goes to, because there's some people that I have that that exist out there in the world that don't know that I exist, but I feel like I would just be really, really good fucking friends with them.
Right. That's a good way to look at it too.
I'm like, they don't know, but if we hung out, we'd be bros. Right? But I think Henry Cavill is probably one of them.
Nice.
Like he seems, and he fits the nice bill too. Like everything I've ever seen of him on and off screen, he's just like a fucking stud.
He's
super
D&D
super
guy.
nerdy gentleman, you know. Like
Yes.
fucking cares about his personal image, and yeah, he seems like a cool dude. Also, Jake Monroe, you guys probably don't know who that is. He's like a content creator from the UK. He started on YouTube doing like goth shit, like goth gaming shit, and I've been following him for a long time and watching him evolve. And he's just like, he's about the same age as me and just all tatted up, but he seems like just the most chill fucking dude. Like he seems on the same wavelength. So you guys can go look up Jake Monroe. He's
Fucking
hilarious.
A. There you go. All right. Yeah, the next thing was going to be, who do you wish was alive today that could give you perspective? Who do you wish you could hear their perspective today that's past?
And my answer was going to be Mr. Rogers for sure. I mean, I thought he was way ahead of his time in the way that he thought in the time that he was alive. Really, a lot of things that he did on his show.
Mr. Rogers?
Mr. Rogers, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood?
Yeah.
Okay. Was the nice guy. That's what you're talking about.
He was a nice guy, but he would also, I want him to be alive today.
Oh,
To give
help.
perspective.
Right. Help shape these chitrons away from wherever the hell they're going or something. I was thinking more of the
No,
philosophy.
honestly, now he was so nice that now I want to see him lose his shit. Basically, that's what I
You
want
want to see how
happen.
he would have
Yeah.
handled 2016 and 2020.
Yeah, I just want to watch Mr. Rogers finally just say, "You guys are all fucked. Fuck off. You guys suck.
He wants the
Don't
Mr.
come into my
Rogers-
fucking house.
He wants the Mr. Rogers sequel where he's the villain.
Right.
I'm going to take my shoe and shove it up your ass."
Did he ever write I wonder if he ever wrote a tell-all story, like
Well,
book.
that's not very neighborly of you.
Yeah, neighbor. Fuck off. I think when I hear this question come up, it's usually like a George Carlin or something like that. Or in my mind, a Bill Hicks would be fun to have him be alive to be
those
able to
would both
say,
be good.
like, give his opinion and whatnot. But mine was always Christopher Hitchens, because it seemed like he died a little too young, just like George Carlin did.
Yeah.
But Christopher Hitchens just was like a surprise. Well, he was sick, but it was like came on so fast, the sick, and he was too young. And he always had a good, whether or not you liked him, he always had a good reason to give his point of view. And I miss that because people aren't as reasoned. That nobody even cares about that anymore. It seems like all of that is gone, where they get to, it's like, here's what I think and here's why, and put that out, these ideas out. Nobody talks about ideas. There's not a lot of debate in TV anymore. So I miss that. It seemed like when he died, a lot of that went too. But that's just me and in my little isolated world.
I think it's valid. I don't know. I'm having a hard time with this question because everybody that I think of, I'm like, no, I wouldn't want to bring them back to deal with this horseshit. Like, I loved them so much. I don't want to have to subject them to, like Robin Williams is a prime example. It's just like he had a hard time hanging with the way that it was, and it's arguably much worse than when he made his exit, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just like, fuck. I don't have it in my heart to want to bring him back to
Right.
deal with this shit, but I would love to have him back as an influence in the world, you know.
I just thought about it. We could bring anyone back, and we're bringing back people from like in our lifetime and people that we know,
I know,
of, and
right?
people that
How
entertained
about
us.
Marcus Aurelius?
Yeah,
Marcus
exactly.
Aurelius
It's
would be a solid
fuck,
pick.
yeah. It's like we could probably ask Jesus to come back if he was a dude.
No,
Hey, dude, listen.
He already
he's
did
supposed
that.
to, and it's supposed to be a really scary day
That's true.
for a lot of us.
True.
So
No.
no, don't come back.
No. This is horseshit. You only get to come back once. He already
And he's already shot.
He has to get back to the end of the line. There's other people who want to come back. He can come back later, but he's got to wait.
That sounds fair. All right. So now we're going to move on from that stuff. Let's go to habits of couples who last.
Okay.
Jeff's going to lead us.
I pulled up a thing. Let's go through it. See if we agree or not. Shaiden, obviously, you're not in a relationship currently, but you obviously have perspectives on this.
What do you mean?
Not one.
I have many relationships with many people.
You know what?
I have relationships with you guys.
Right now, as we speak, we're doing the relationship.
Okay, this is very specifically for romantic relationships. Is the gist that I get.
Okay.
Well, I've been in those.
He's experienced it from time to time.
I have perspective to offer.
They are affectionate even outside the bedroom is number one. These are things that make their relationship last.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
What
okay.
the fuck?
Well, there's a lot of people, I mean, that are like, no, public display of affection is an absolute zero. Don't hold my hand, don't kiss me, don't hook my arm. At home, that's fine, but we don't do that out in public. That's a thing. That's a real thing.
For sure.
There's like in everything, there's a bit of balance that comes into play there. Like people that are constantly hanging off of each other in public are fucking obnoxious.
And they probably won't
But
last.
that's also generally an immaturity issue as well.
I agree.
That's true. Yeah. I've been
I agree. I'm just saying I can't completely agree with the premises. Like, we should just always be, romantic with each other. I mean, like, yeah, okay, that's fine. I don't care. Public displays of affection don't bother me until they become a possessive thing. You know what I mean? Like, where it's like, oh, I'm doing this not
Marking
really
your
because I
territory.
feel affection for you.
basically
but I just wanna
peeing
let
on her.
everybody
It's
else
more like,
know
on me.
yeah,
to
pissing
fuck
all around
off.
your
And I'm like, okay,
boundaries,
yeah,
right.
I dare you to put me in that box and watch how fast that I won't be your territory anymore.
No, I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, and I guess we're supposed to take this within reason, but that's a valid point. Yeah, I don't want to see people just basically banging with their clothes on out in public.
Right.
But no, if you love and care about the person that you're with, go ahead, hold their hand.
Yeah.
Give them an appropriate, what we would consider an appropriate kiss in public. Show that you give a shit about them in front of other people.
Even cuddles. Even public cuddles, damn it. That shit's awesome.
That's fine.
Standing in line, cuddle that shit. Why not?
Number 2, don't gossip about each other.
Yeah.
And now
That's huge.
I should have caught on to this with my second wife, hanging around the family. The women, I mean, we would get together every night, and Grandma would cook, and all the family members would come over. That was just kind of part of the culture. It was a Hispanic family. But then the women would get together, and the men would kind of go in the other room, and they would just sit and talk shit about their husbands all night long. I mean stuff. and I was too stupid to think, she was pre-wife then. I'm sure she doesn't talk shit about me. I'm a great guy. Oh no, she was right up in that shit.
Jeff says
Guaranteed.
pre-wife. There's a word for that, I think most people call it fiance. She was my pre-wife.
Pre-wife.
Those were the pre-war days.
My point is, there was a red flag, and I'm a Taurus. I just ran right to that thing and attacked it. So,
It's
not my fault.
Did you just throw astrology at me?
yeah,
Jeff?
it's my
sure
astrological
sucked it.
sign caused me to go towards red flags. It's not my fault.
That is not what
You
happened.
just put stock in astrology right in front of me, dude. That's wild.
What is number 3?
I agree with the not gossiping thing, though. Before we,
let's linger
had
for a
this,
second.
I've had this policy in relationships of mine where, and I don't know if this is necessarily right in all situations. It's just a part of my personal code. But if somebody is trying to bait me into talking shit about the person that I'm with, about my partner, or they're saying something that I don't know whether it's true or not, I'll shut that shit down regardless. So like, even if I know it's true, like if somebody's like, hey, you're so and so is, she is this or said that or did this and it was fucked up, I'd be like, dude, fuck off. Like I will defend you, and then I will, in private later, talk to you about it and get to the bottom of it. And if you're in the wrong, I'll address it with my partner privately. But as far as other people out in the public, I will defend you 100% of the time if you're my partner and I respect you. Just on principle. Mm-hmm. If you fuck up in front of me in public, and then I might curb your shit,
Right.
lovingly.
If
But
it's too much to, you get under the bus too.
but if
with
it's
everyone
something
else.
that I don't have a degree of certainty on, I'm just gonna always give you the benefit of the doubt and then address it with you later, not in front of people, because I don't think it's honorable to embarrass your partner.
No, or to gossip about them.
Right.
Like even if it's it just isn't the way to do stuff for a long-lasting relationship. For shall. All right.
Number 3, they hug and kiss to start the day and to end the day.
Fuck yeah.
Which, absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah.
gotta say, well,
That's a great way to start the day.
I mean, and I have an amazing relationship now, but we catch ourselves like we're starting the day, there's kids running around, there's shit to do, we're bouncing around, and we almost do it simultaneously every day. We just kind of stop and go, wait a minute.
Come here.
Get over here.
Yeah.
Good morning. How are you? Come here. Let me hold you for a second.
That's rad.
How's your day going to go? Let's. What are we going to do today?
Hell yeah.
So, and that's something different than I've done in any other relationship, because I wasn't that guy. Mostly because different shifts and stuff like that. I mean, I would go days without seeing the person that I was with.
Right. Well, you're super in love now too. Also,
Yeah, it's I know it's gross. It's pretty gross.
It's pretty
is.
rad.
Really tired of hearing about it.
Yeah, we're fucking sick of it. She's pretty kick-ass, and it's nice to see you happy, you son of a bitch.
I guess I kind of scoffed at that one from the outset, just because, not because I think it's a poor idea, but because I was like, well, yeah, if you love somebody, that will just happen. Like, you're not like,
you think that it does,
If
but
you
when
have
what?
to, if you have to think about it actively every day, I mean, sure, some days it's chaos right out of the gate, and it's just like, "Ugh," but like, barring that, you know, if you're waking up and you don't have to immediately rush into something, and you love each other, chances are high that that's just going to occur, right? If you actually love each other. So,
But from my
isn't that kind of
perspective,
a given.
From my perspective of working the different shifts that I did, and not taking that moment of time in passing to do that, I recognize now that how important it is to, even when you're busy, stop what you're doing for a minute and give that person attention. No, it's no different with kids. If you're doing a project at home, and kids, you know, if they want to go out and play ball for 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something, and what you're doing is really important, get to a stop point, take that break.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to take you a little longer, but show that person that they matter.
Absolutely.
That goes with your spouse as well as with your children.
Well,
and I don't think that people look at that the same.
One thing that I don't remember the number, but with the spouse, and this probably goes men and women and all relationships, touching each other multiple times a day builds camaraderie between each other. Like, you find yourself, I don't know if this goes with your study, but basically, you know, the more times you can, just touching, caressing, you know, hugging, all those kind of things, the more you touch each other, the kind of more camaraderie you build in general. And it does work. Like, and you find that that's all it takes sometimes when you're busy, like in a relationship. Like with Monique and I, we're fucking racing on 2 different levels all the time. And all we need a lot of times is just throughout the day is just like, hey, I just want to feel your hand and your warm, my favorite hand, come here. You know, and it's, the more times a day you do that, the better you do feel for me anyway, it seems.
I think that's true pretty much across the board.
On the flip side, if you're
Human
not
beings
feeling
need touch.
Yeah.
if you're not feeling like you want to do that with the person that you're with, you better start evaluating why.
Right. I feel like, I guess I'm in a weird spot because I'm like, I crave it. I'm like, give me. So maybe I'm codependent. Fuck, who knows? There's probably a slippery slope both ways.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4. They move towards the bedroom together each night.
That one's kind of dumb.
It kind of depends on schedules. I don't know. If your schedule allows for it, again.
I'm screwed. Monique and I are screwed if that's the case. We're fucking getting divorced then. So I haven't got
It's only one thing out of a lot.
We just ruined Zach's marriage.
It's
Yeah,
just
ruined.
it's some tips. If it's available to you,
She just don't love me no more.
if it's available to you and you're not doing it, and you're looking at your relationship and going, some of these things are kind of messed up. Maybe that's one thing that you can do that even subconsciously or consciously can make it better. So something to think about.
Definitely.
I don't know about that one though, man, because that could create resentment, you know, because it's just like, well, I don't really want to go to bed right now, but I'm doing it for the sake of, because she wants to go to bed.
Because you give a shit
he
about,
wants
hey,
to
you
go
might
to
get
bed,
late.
You
Yeah.
know, it's just like, well, okay,
Right,
but
Certain
maybe
motivation.
not.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, I'm just saying, it could be good, but it also could, I don't know if I can condone that as universal advice for success.
Right. There's got to be a compromise. I would imagine whatever situation we're coming up with, it's like some nights you probably should go to bed at the same time.
Like,
That's kind of what we do with, you know, Monique and I. We want to spend as much time as we can together, but we also are running 2 businesses or 3 businesses and being busy. And
guess
so
my
we
hang-up
try and
is-
make it happen and come together and do like a thing. Like every week we try and do a thing together where it's like we're just putting everything aside, even though it's silly to have a date. You know, it's not like a date like that, but it's like we're doing a thing today together no matter what.
We're coming together mindfully, which I think is at the heart of what that suggestion is driving at. But like, it's just, I think it's just the every night thing that is derailing me a little bit, you know, because it's just like you take my parents as an example. I'm not there all the time anymore, but I'm quite certain that most nights they're like, okay, let's go to bed, and they just go to bed. You know? But but when I'm there, my dad and I'll fucking sit up on the back porch and talk until midnight, 1 a.m. sometimes. And my stepmom, bless her heart, is like, I love you guys, I'm going to bed though.
Right.
Well, there's an added stimulus, and that's a little bit different. But if your routine is your wife goes to bed at 8 o'clock and you sit up and watch whatever it is that you watch, and you know, fall asleep on the couch and she finally has to rouse your ass off of bed at 1 o'clock in the morning so you'll finally come to bed and that's your standard, trust me, that's pissing her off.
Yeah, that's too far.
That's hurting her feelings.
That's too far the other way. I agree.
So don't do that.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Again, everything has its moderation, but it should. I think that the consistency. Again, work schedules and life schedules matter in that.
Yeah, for sure.
Consistency should be do those things together. I mean, some of the best conversations I ever had. We're not tired, we're tired, but we're not ready to go to sleep, and we end up sitting and talking for 2-3 hours about shit. It's great.
Yeah.
Number 5, they continually do small things for each other. This is huge.
Yeah.
And again, we start taking relationships for granted, and all those awesome things that you did at the start to show that you give a shit about the other person tend to taper off, and that's very regular because life does happen, and you have to keep that stuff at the forefront of your relationship. I do have a little funny story about that.
And you stop trying to impress each other so much at a certain point too. Like it's just like I'm not trying to win your affection anymore.
Well, this is because I genuinely want to help you do stuff.
I just want to maintain it, and I actually care about you.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be about trying to impress the other person. It should just be about I'm doing this for you because I give a shit about
But it
you.
is in the beginning almost invariably.
Right. But
That's what I mean.
This is how virtuous and
that's
good
my
I can be.
point.
Yeah.
Well, when Zach and I have talked about this, I think for about the first 6 months of any relationship, you can kind of fake who you are.
Yeah.
After about 6 months, you just can't do it anymore.
True colors
Yeah.
shining through.
I've been fooling you guys for years. Still going. So.
We haven't lived together long enough. That's
some of
the
my
problem.
relationships
I lived
after
with
6
Jeff.
months, it's like I'm at the running of the bulls, man. It's I'm like, oh, I should have caught on to that.
How long? You didn't get to live with him long enough, maybe.
I lived
that's
with Jeff for like a year, and he still never got to see the real me.
it. He was working diligently to hide
he
it
did.
from you.
He did. He just loves me.
Oh, he forgave you for your
He thinks I'm sexy.
transgressions.
Funny story about doing kind things.
Well, yeah.
So this was ex-wife number 2. I can remember working opposite schedules and all that. I would come in on graveyard, and when I would try and go to bed, she'd be getting up and making a bunch of fucking noise in the bedroom. It was really what she was doing. But again, trying to be cognizant of the relationship and make things go well. I'm like, you know what? Before I go downstairs, I'm going to make her a cup of coffee. And I brought her a nice cup of coffee at the bedside, and guess what? I got laid. It worked great. So I did it the next day. Nothing. I did it the next day. Nothing. I did it the next day. Nothing. Finally, I came down and I didn't do it. You know what she said? Where's my coffee? Yeah. So a nice thing became an expectation. So on the flip side, if someone's doing something nice for you, appreciate it that they're doing it because they care about you. As soon as you make an expectation, it's probably going to be a problem.
Right.
See,
and careful you're not
you're-
being trained by somebody. You know,
Your
you never know
brain
where
works
they're coming
differently than mine because in that situation I would have been coffee, laid, nice. Next day, coffee, no laid, Next day, ham sandwich.
We're testing out the
She was a
parameters of this
vegetarian.
shit.
Laid? No, okay. Next day, salad. Next
this
day,
work?
Pop-Tart.
No laid, here's a puppy.
Next day, I come up and just smother you with a pillow just long enough for you to be kind of afraid, but then not actually hurt you.
Number six.
Which new thing is doing it?
Number 6. They celebrate in their partner's accomplishments.
Big time.
How many times? I
Yeah,
mean, a lot of
100%
my
agree with that.
A lot of my calls that I went to in middle class and upper class families, the fights were about the jealousy of the other person's
Yes.
accomplishments.
There's so much jealousy in like supposedly loving relationships that are, we're like, oh damn, you guys don't want each other to win.
I mean, I celebrate
Why?
everybody's accomplishments. That's
I
what I
know,
want to see.
right?
Is I want to see people win. And when you're with somebody that isn't that kind of person, that gets really frustrating. But when you're with somebody that actually wants to accomplish shit and works on it, for me, I mean that's
huge.
It's exciting.
It's it makes life so much
The
more
tide
fun.
raises all ships unless you decide to sink one.
Right. No shit.
Number 7, they stand together and refuse to let outsiders call the shots.
Yeah. I mean, you got to take expert advice and science and all that stuff, but yes, I mean, it's basically in a relationship, you're an island. You don't have to be an island, but that is kind of the way I look at it. It's like, well, me and you forever, girl, and against the world, really. It could be anyone. It's against everything else.
Right.
Well,
And
if
again,
the police show up and tell you what to do, you should probably,
no, they don't. They
With
don't
some
listen.
exceptions. With some,
I said they should.
I make suggestions. Look, if you guys can't get along to the point where the government's in your house, maybe one of you should leave. And they're both like, I'm not leaving. They need to leave. And I'm like, well, okay, you guys both suck. Hope you don't hit each other.
See you next week.
right. I do. There is something special about like starting a business with your significant other is fucking awesome. It's such a fun ride because, I mean, I watched my parents do it, and that was the best time in their relationship, it seemed to me, and they would speak of it that way too, because it's your strengths, if it works.
I was going to say,
it depends on who they are.
There's been other versions of that story. I've seen Kitchen Nightmares, bro.
Oh, exactly. If you guys have that chemistry, there's something special about that. And my parents had that chemistry for years and years. I feel that with Monique and I love working with my wife. It's so much fun to watch her do what she does and and how we play off of each other and holy shit. Oh,
Speaking
of the wife, she's brought us. Oh, what?
We were just talking about you.
What?
Mostly Zach.
Those looks like Olive Garden
Phallic
breadsticks.
bread. Looks like my fingers.
Dude,
Wow.
thanks.
Look at this. Look at
Hey,
this
say hi.
nonsense.
Say hi, Mrs. Script
Well, hello.
That's she brought us bread as we were talking about her.
Now
Did
you
know we were
guys
talking
know.
about you?
Now you guys
This
know. we
ties
weren't
right
making it
into
up.
what I was talking about, just to show what an awesome wife you are to your husband,
Yeah.
to the whole world. Good job.
Aw.
This had you had no idea, but it sure did
Let's,
show up perfect.
shout out to your darling boy as well.
Well, our
man.
boy actually went to the store this evening.
Thanks,
and
sir. I appreciate you.
He made us basically Olive Garden breadsticks.
Yep.
So, and they're really very good.
So now you're gonna hear
And
us
they really
mouth.
do look
They
like my
are.
fingers.
And so now we're literally gonna eat
He's
while you guys are
Captain
listening.
Olive Garden, dude.
Thank you, family. I love you.
Bye. Thanks for coming. Come back anytime with breadsticks.
So number 8, Zach, I think you and Monique showed probably the best example I've ever seen in my life of this.
Oh boy.
They set aside time regularly to check in with each other. I think that you guys do a really good job at taking time to sit down going, how are you? What's going on? You know?
That's our routine.
I think it's great.
Checking in, not checking up on.
Right. Oh man, I've never checked up on her. I wouldn't marry somebody that I had to check up on ever.
There's a very important distinction between those.
Yeah,
two things.
dude.
One is very unhealthy.
I
If you feel like you have to go through their phone, you're in the wrong relationship.
Oh man, the way I look at it is, and Monique and I say this to each other all the time. It's like nothing happens in the world unless I can tell you about it. You know what I mean? To her, because and that's just where we are. I mean, she's my
Yeah, but this is more, I think, just checking on how are you doing?
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I have a very firm no one ever gets to look in my phone policy. And people are like,
As do I.
why? Do you have something to hide? I'm like, yes.
Whatever I want.
Are you kidding me? I write all my songs on my phone. I journal on my phone. I have pictures that are just for me on my phone, and not the kind that you're thinking of. Just stuff that's like, this is personal shit to me. Like I have photos of my dead ex-girlfriend on there, and I don't want you going through and going, who the fuck is this? And then I have to explain to you about my dead ex-girlfriend. Like, no,
Right.
I will never ever even look at your phone unless you hold it up to me.
I can't believe that's
Like, you could
even
be
a
sitting
debate.
next to me on the couch and your phone go off, and you would be sitting there typing on it. I will not look at the screen of your phone.
I can't believe that's a debate with people where they're
shouldn't
like,
be.
I should be able to look in your phone. It's like, really?
No,
Like,
everybody deserves a certain degree of privacy.
right.
It's like going through somebody's computer. I mean, that's really what it is. Okay, here's
But
my
I
here's
wouldn't
my
be
take on it.
embarrassed for my wife to, and I would trust my wife to go through my phone. I wouldn't be either of those things. I wouldn't care. But I would never be with a person that would want to. Monique, that's the last thing Monique would ever ask.
Here's
of me.
how this can go, and I tell this story because there's some value to it. If you're one of these people that want to go through somebody's phone, again, then you're probably in the wrong relationship, or you're putting a lot of pressure from something that happened in your past on somebody that doesn't fucking deserve it. It's one of the two. For
sure.
So
Or you have something to hide and you want to find what theirs is first.
so you can so you
Or
can
you're both
top
cunts.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
can both be cunts.
Yeah, they can both be cunts too. So I was in a relationship with a gal, and out of the blue, for no reason, I was in the shower. She decided to go through my phone, which it wasn't locked or anything. She never asked. We never had that discussion. But she decided to go through my phone, which means she was looking to find something to be mad at me about for some reason. So she gets into my emails, and I got an email that said, hey, here's my new number. And it had 3 numbers. It had the phone number, and then it was like 457 XOXO. And then she had left to the baseball game for the kids.
Oh, that one was from me. What do you
No, it wasn't, but I'll get to the story. We'll get to the story. So I was getting ready early for work so I could go watch her kids play baseball before I started for work. And I get to the baseball game. I had no idea she had gone through my phone or anything. And then she is pissed. I mean, pissed off at me. Like, what are you doing? What the fuck? I went through your phone. I'm like, okay, why? Because I wanted to see what you were up to. Well, that doesn't make any sense. What'd you find? She told me about the email, and I started laughing. It was from a buddy of mine that I used to work with in Wapato, who's over in Kitsap County now. He was a undercover agent, and he was letting me know what phone number I could get a hold of him. He just used his badge number, and we always used to like sign our reports and stuff, always making jokes. Love Deputy Getchell,
Right.
XOXO, and he'd do his name and XOXO. So it was just a joke between us. So anytime we communicated, it was XOXO. Well, she doesn't know
She
this.
didn't
It
find
never
that
came
funny
up.
at all.
She didn't find it funny at all. So I started laughing and I explained it to her. Well, she had gone so far that she was trying to call the number and ask who it was. Well, he doesn't know who the hell she is. It's his doper phone for work. Oh, no. So I'm like, dude, here's what happened. She decided to go through my shit. So now she thinks that you're some chick that I'm banging for whatever reason based on the it doesn't matter what I tell her, this is what she thinks. So he starts sending her a picture. Hi, I'm so-and-so. Here's my work car. Here's some heroin I bought today.
This is Jake from State Farm.
Yeah. And she would never let that go. She wanted to be mad at me so she could go out and do some other shit that came up later. So that's what she picked. So if you're that cunt,
Oh, wow.
don't be a cunt. Stop doing that.
Here's one.
Yeah, on either
When
side
you're
of
wrong,
the equation. Don't be going through your girl's phone either. Don't be going through your guy's phone.
Right.
That's just if you have concerns that you're feeling, just talk to them.
Yeah, and you have to, for a relationship, you have to be able to admit when you're wrong and say you're sorry to your significant other. It can't be that like power struggle or whatever, which
that ended
like
pretty
was.
quickly after that.
Well, and
too.
if you go looking for skeletons, chances are high you'll find them.
Yeah, we all kind of suck.
They're not necessarily all going to be this big groundbreaking thing, but you might go into your significant other's phone looking for like evidence of cheating or something, and then just find a text thread between them and one of their friends talking about some shit that like they don't secretly like about you.
Or how about
but
something
they would never
before-
say to your face, they just choose to tolerate it, but then now you know, and it starts a big fucking fight.
Yeah.
Or,
And it's
or something
never
that
any of your
was
business,
that was in there
should say
before
that.
you were ever around. It's none of your fucking business to begin with. It was, it's before you. So
You're hanging out with the wrong people if you feel like you can't trust them and stuff. You should probably move along. And if you're,
stop looking to make yourself a victim. Stand up for yourself and get the fuck out of the relationship. If
it
you're
does
not
suck
happy.
if you're real invested, and it's easy to say when there's if there's kids involved and you're stuck in it financially, or you're stuck in some other kind of way, or you've moved away from your family, but still, fucking A.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Get out. Eject.
It can work, but it has to be a mutual understanding. Whatever you do has to be mutual understanding. Like my folks, and again as an example, and they're a rare example in a lot of ways, but they use each other's phones constantly for stuff, But like
Right.
they have nothing. Like I mean. For one, sorry, Dad. They're older folks, so they don't use their phone for the same amount of things that a lot of us.
He's not on
do.
Grindr, and
But my dad's
Tinder.
not. My dad. Well, that would be interesting. My dad is. It's not that he's not tech savvy. He's a web design professional
very-
by
yeah.
trade. Like he's tech savvy. He just phones are irritating,
Right.
even to tech savvy people. But they have nothing to hide from each other. Even in the mundane sense, like they never say a cross word about each other, and they just take all that shit super seriously. And there's merit to that.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're under the age of 50 in today's world and you've had a phone for a meaningful amount of time, chances are nobody needs to be looking through it. Like
Right.
there's just
Right. You've used it for like medical stuff.
especially
Like,
without
what's
your
this thing
permission.
on my
I mean,
back?
If I
Can
hand you
know?
my phone and I say, here, you can use it, which I have done, not often, but there are some people like my brother. I'll just hand him my phone. I'm like, go ham, dude. I don't care. Like, you know everything about me anyway. But
Right.
I let Paula use my phone all the time,
Right.
but she has no desire to go through it.
right.
But she also knows that
That's
that's
the
not
distinction.
okay. But I also will afford you the same respect. I will never go for you through
Yeah.
your phone either.
It's the breach of trust that makes it a shitty thing. It's not necessarily what you do or don't find. It's just that.
Well, a lot of times what you're doing is creating the breach of trust.
That's what I mean.
By
Well,
doing that. Yeah.
Jeff, you brought it up to me a long time ago. It's like maybe this is part of it. Like a lot of the calls you took when you were working was Facebook oriented, and these kind of the phone is the gateway to cheating. It's the gateway to these weird places, and to
It's a gateway to communication with the world, and bad thing. It can be used very poorly.
it's because it happens so much. People are extra paranoid about it, even in a good relationship. They're just
If you're in a good relationship, you're not doing that shit.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
It's like
yeah.
reading somebody's diary, though. Right?
It really is, yeah.
Like, it's just like, yeah, okay, even if there's nothing in there to hide, you read my fucking diary? Like, don't do that. What the hell? That's my space.
No matter what happens, if they do it without your permission, it changes the relationship. No matter what,
Right.
It's like-
They're looking for lack of trust in you, and then creating a lack of trust in themselves.
Right.
And then you wonder why the relationship goes south even more after that.
Yeah, because it's like a projection a lot of times. So they're like, "I don't trust you. You're a cheater." It's like, "Oh fuck, you've been cheating on me, huh?" Oh, good. That's good to know. Good to know. I'll just check where the smoke is.
Exactly.
And number 9 kind of ties into some of this. You already said it. That they know how to say sorry, and they mean
Oh
it.
shit. Yeah. Seriously. Like,
Even if you're right in a discussion and there's some sort of dispute, or we can call it a fight or an argument, you were probably being a cunt to defend yourself. At least acknowledge that. Like, hey, I still believe in what I said, but maybe my delivery was shit, and I clearly upset you. I'm fucking sorry for doing that.
well, you're on the same team. That's the thing when you're in a relationship where you're like, "Oh man, I want this to last forever." So when you are in an argument, it's like, I'm sorry for whatever I may have said that may have been uncomfortable, because I just want to figure out the answer with you.
I mean, I've been in relationships where they want me to be
I want
sorry.
you to figure it out for me.
Yeah, they want me to be sorry for something that I said specifically that I meant. Usually it's like, hey, stop fucking the neighbor or something like that. And you need to be sorry. You need to be sorry.
What a poignant example.
I'm not sorry for what I said. Maybe I'm sorry for the way that I came at you, but but the message was still the same. Okay, that's not the best example, but you know what I mean, though.
Pretty funny example.
It's a funny example, but
We'll take best or funniest, either way. Or
number
just fun.
10, they don't make assumptions about their partner's feelings, they ask. That is, I think, a difficult one for people to do.
I think so too.
But-
Yeah, we project a lot of times on other people, even when we're real close with them, how we feel, and then we assume that they feel a certain way because we've seen it before. That's a good one.
You know what sucks is I
Good to
actually
ask.
missed 3 of these. I'm missing 11, 12, and 13.
Uh-oh.
That's okay. We can
Oh, well.
still get the point.
This list
Yeah,
is
yeah.
too long anyway. Just sum it up and don't be a cunt.
Don't be kind. As usual. That's the foundation of our religion and political party and personal life. Hot dog. Yeah.
They say what they mean and mean what they say to each other,
Yeah.
but say it as politely as you can. If you come across abrasive, you're going to get abrasive back.
Yeah. Be honest, but don't be a dick about it. So again, don't be a cunt.
Right? Again, don't be a cunt.
Yeah. Hi, dog. You're not supposed to smell the breadsticks. This is a unique episode. We've never had one with breadsticks. The dog is like kind of shocked.
Dog's making a lot of appearances here.
And be careful of the blame game. Take accountability on your end. And if they have accountability, it's okay. On both sides in a relationship, just take your accountability.
Yeah, you're on the same team, so the team wins or loses, who points it at who. At
And
whom.
that's about it. That's top points.
Those were pretty good. I think. Yeah. Don't be a
Shaiden's
cunt.
getting bored with it, so we'll shut it down.
Good conversation material.
All right. Well, we'll move along to our last little bit of discussion before we get to the reasonablest party. Utility of power dynamics. This is a Shaiden story. We're going to go real
That
surface
sounds like
level.
some pretentious shit that would come out of my mouth.
Real surface level shit, Shaiden. What the fuck do you mean by utility of power
I'm a
dynamics?
shallow guy, Zach. What can I say?
Just not even a shovel. This guy doesn't own one.
No shovel on my dick or otherwise.
No shovel car. Well, give us some information. What are we
All right.
What are we talking about?
So this is another one of my less than fully baked notions that's been rolling around in my head that I wanted to flesh out a little bit with you guys. But I was thinking that people like to talk, not all people, but there are a significant number of people that like to talk about the inherent bad parts of having like hierarchy or people in power over other people, or corporations in power over whatever. Just big thing A wielding power over small thing B, whatever the form it should take. And there are definitely some inherently bad things that can come from that, because human beings are involved.
Yeah, we get really cruel with each other, for sure.
We kind of tend to fuck shit up, even when it's a good idea. But my thought on the specifics of this was there seems to me to be a certain amount of utility to systems of power both existing and being wielded in certain regards. So to boil it down further, how do you combat violence without enacting violence in return?
Right. Okay.
Are you asking?
Yes.
I don't know.
Repeat the question.
If it was violence, go ahead. Yeah.
How do you combat / prevent violence without enacting violence in return?
Well, it's kind of like if you don't want to get hit by a softball, don't stand in the batter's box.
Right. Yeah.
So that's exactly my
You have
point.
to create
So
distance.
there has to
Avoiding.
be. Well, okay, sure, but taking that option off the table, violence has come to you.
Right.
There's no distance allowed. You have to do something about it now. How do you prevent it?
Coast Guard.
You can't. You can't. I mean, that was my job, is trying to solve things peacefully. But if it didn't go that way, then it went to
I could
violence.
say if it was criminal, if it's not violence, if it's a criminal type thing, because we talked about this a little bit before. Excuse me. Like, if we wanted to use non-violence to prevent a crime, like say something that Visa does, like the way Visa handles somebody that's committing a crime, they don't use violence to fight that crime. They will just talk to each other and say, "Hey, this guy's credit's shit now," and this
They use consequences.
which does at the end of the line, at the very end of the line, have violence with a person with a gun. At the very end, it takes a while, and they
Right.
don't even. And most of the time, it doesn't go to that for fraud case. Those kind of things.
Right.
They don't even go. They just shut you off, or
But how much more would it happen if there wasn't a gun or something at the end of the line?
fair. But
Right.
well, actually, with this one, because your credit score is basically, it's a gateway to working with banks and working with lenders and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they have this thing that doesn't require force, that can significantly ruin your life. So your reputation
Right.
is a thing that can be used to dispel violence, I think, a little bit, maybe.
So I don't disagree, and that kind of illustrates my point on the issue, because violence was just a point and example that I pulled out of the air. But my point is,
That's the toughest
my
one, though,
point
I
is
think.
prevention of shitty behavior or shitty things happening, is that there are consequences on the other side of threats.
Oh, yeah, for
Right?
sure.
So
Whether they're violent
if
or-
if I make a threat, but I am not able to back that threat up,
Pointless.
I have no
meaningless.
power.
Yeah.
so in that sense, power is vital. Like being able to both have and wield power in certain scenarios is vital, and it has utility, regardless of how people feel about it. It's like, whether it's, oh, I feel oppressed by the power that's being wielded against me. Like I said, people are involved, so
Yeah.
that's going to happen. That's never going to be perfect. But to say that no one should ever have power over another person is foolishness, in my opinion. The more I think
would be
about it,
impossible, yeah.
because it's like, okay, so then
The moment you
if,
get a
if
job
nobody
or
ever holds any power, then
parents.
power is going to find a place to coalesce anyway, and it's not going to be where you want.
Right.
It's going to be people that are like, cool, nobody holds power, I'm going to take it for myself, and those are the fuckers that you don't want having power.
No shit. Absolutely.
So I would argue in this philosophical diatribe of mine that power is essential, and a loftier pursuit would be to try and engineer things so that power most often falls into appropriate hands.
That's the tough
And
trick.
That's far easier said than done.
Because it's back to the people thing, and it's back to the George Carlin garbage in, garbage out. It's like the best we can do is probably what we've already seen. It's like, this is the best we can do. People that want power aren't the best of us.
It's the best
so-
we can do so far.
So far,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. We shouldn't give up. Regardless of, there will never be a utopia for humans, but we should always still try. We should always kind of work towards making it better.
Yeah, the people that want power are usually the ones that shouldn't have it, and vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is that. The people that don't want to run for office that seem very competent and skillful, it's like, we want you. And they're like, I never would. And they're like, damn it, we're fucked.
Yeah.
But even then, I think people with good intentions, they get into government. The government's not set up to work for people like we want it to. It's really just not a system for that. But that's a whole nother conversation. Why don't you have any closing thoughts on the idea of this?
Nope. That was the width and breadth of my thoughts.
I like it though
on that topic. Yeah.
That was a fun little convo.
It's just an interesting thing to think about because it's easy to look at that kind of shit at face value and go, yeah, somebody having power over another person is shitty, you know. But it's like
so part of our world. Yeah,
is it?
Every job you get, there's a little bit of power with the manager over you, and then somebody over them, and even parents. The power is immense, tyrannical power parents have over their children until they're 18.
In society, there needs to be some amount of control.
Yeah,
right.
Feels like it, but we just wield it so goddamn terribly most of the time. So we're always, I don't know. There's good examples of people that wield it well.
I think power is one of those things that's just not inherently good or bad. It all comes down to how it's wielded.
Yeah.
You know.
So let's talk media and the role of government and media. So the idea was the fourth estate kind of thing. The fourth branch of government was unofficially supposed to be the media. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's free to criticize the government without any repercussions. That's First Amendment, all that stuff. I'm pretty sure we would want that. Definitely free media. But where does the media... I mean, if you look at the media today, it's kind of less investigative journalism, despite how many media outlets there are, and more just a press conference where the media cameras show up and they write exactly what the government says. Like, how would you envision our party trying to influence how media and government exist?
How about you can't release a story until there's actual facts in it? An example. So let's...
Or what?
Yeah, now the government's got a whole stranglehold on the media. Hold on.
We haven't got to the or what.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not even there.
That's just always where my brain goes.
Let's just get to
I'm just like, yeah, that's a nice thought. How
about an expectation just as reasonable people, right?
Okay, fair.
So, say any type of police incident goes down, media starts showing up, and you get a little gist. Okay, they know there was a shooting. Then it was, okay, we know this person was shot. We know. Then they just start filling in airtime and start, well, maybe this happened. Well, maybe this happened. Well, it could speculate. So there's all this speculation to kill all this airtime. And before you know it, well, that's what they reported on the news, so that must be truth. How about shut your fucking mouth until you know what happened?
Yeah, and then it usually ends with an opinion and not a fact.
Exactly.
Yeah, the whole time it's just opinion.
We watched that happen.
Hey, there's a place for op-eds, man. Like I'm all for people spouting their opinion in front of audiences. That's
but how can you make an opinion? How can you make an opinion on something that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about?
Yeah. Well,
you're only speculating.
Hold my beer.
We do it all the time, dude. What do you mean? That's our entire show.
But irresponsibly as the media of record for your area, yeah, that doesn't seem good.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
it is a tough one though, man, because like part of me wants to be going down the road that you're going down, Jeff, where it's like, yeah, there should be restrictions imposed upon, like there should be consequences for not engaging with journalism in a conscientious manner.
Well, checks and balances like the government has between itself, but we're talking about private entities, so it's weird to do.
And that kind of runs in counterpoint to personal freedom as well, so it's like, fuck, like I don't, it's got to be like one of those things. It doesn't got to be, but it seems like it would be nice to have it as one of those things, like a surgeon, where it's just like, you're not going to use this to harm people. You have to take a fucking whatever it takes for your personal code, a solemn oath or a you'll be disbarred disbarred from the media.
Well, how about this? Like, would it be allowed for the government, for the reasonablest party government officials, to pay a media company to suppress news that we want suppressed?
I don't want news suppressed. I want the bullshit suppressed. If it happened and we fucked up or somebody fucked up, okay, that's fine.
Right. But I mean, but separate question, is it okay for the government to pay a media company to change or promote or suppress a story? Not okay.
No.
Okay.
Well, and how do you with the speed at which information travels now, like how does one possibly stay on top of
But
that
that's
shit
the whole
in the
point.
first
It doesn't
place?
matter if you're right. It just matters if you're first. That's a fucking problem, right?
It also becomes
We don't
about
want that to
intent
happen.
when people know that they're purposely trying to keep something, to manipulate something, compared to somebody accidentally doing that because the information doesn't come out. Does that make sense?
People love news that's not true, though. Like, they love news that's readily available in their face, and they don't give a shit if it's true.
Right.
You know?
That's the thing about
Especially if it's entertaining. I mean, even me, I like The Onion.
Right, sure.
You know, I mean, granted, I go into
Gets
it
a little-
knowing that it's satire, but still, I'm just like, it gives you get a kind of a thrill out of it. Like,
yeah, for sure. You almost get better news from the satire of The Onion and the Babylon Bee going back and forth,
It's really funny
parodying
when
each
shit
other.
on The Onion actually happens, like, later.
Yeah,
in some
no shit.
form, it's like, oh
God damn.
God, no, that was The Onion.
They're running out of shit. They're like, life is getting worse than what we can make up.
It's probably The Onion behind it that
Stranger
probably
Things.
made those bad things happen. They're like, now we look like prophets.
This will sell more shit in the future too. All right. Well, where does the media sit? Is it okay? What do you think, Shaiden? Is it okay for? I mean, we just saw. I don't know if you guys are paying attention to the Twitter files or whatever the hell they're called. Basically, it looks. I haven't investigated nearly enough, but I'm not going to right now anyway. I'm busy. But you guys maybe can tell us. But it looks like the government. It looked like Donald Trump's government, but the FBI under Donald Trump. So working against Donald Trump, which is whole nother thing that's interesting. Paid Twitter to not run specific stories on specific things. Sound like the Hunter Biden laptops, blah, 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 all that stuff.
Yeah.
My problem is I don't give a fuck about these actors that are playing in this fucking game. I don't care about any of the shit. None of the politicians mean anything to me.
Right.
But the principle of government manipulating media is fucking weird. That's not... I mean, it's probably been done a million times. Maybe I'm completely blind to it and blah, blah, blah.
They call
But
that
doesn't-
propaganda, right?
Yeah, that's... Like, we should not be proud on any level that that's happening, and whether it's legal or not, it should just be one of those things that we look at each other in the eye and say, I'm not going to kick you in the balls, or I'm not going to talk shit about you. I'm not going to do this. We're not going to do that. We're not going to let our government go into private companies and say, hey, we don't want you to run this thing during an election so that we can manipulate the fuck out of the people that watch your shit.
Right.
Like, that's wag the dog. That's fucking propaganda, like you said.
It was probably going on our whole lifetimes and our parents' whole lifetimes and before that. But now that social media, media comes out so fast, now it's just exacerbated.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I feel that in our preferred system, the government would not be the pageant that it is now. Like all the Hollywood-esque features of it, where it's just like everybody's on the team of some cult of personality. That shit wouldn't exist by virtue of the fact that if we had our way, the government would just be like a minimal system that's not making anybody rich necessarily, and like is just there to serve as a lattice work for a free and open market, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that being the case, that would just automatically, by extension, remove the desire / necessity. I don't want to use the word necessity, but the proclivity to just make all this shit up that's inflammatory, and for like the government would have no place manipulating anything, because the government wouldn't be something that everybody's plugged directly into every fucking day,
Right.
through one drip feeder or another. So I think that's because, like, if we were trying to change the media with the government the way it is now, I'm afraid it's just simply not going to happen.
I agree. I
You know?
agree.
So the government itself would have to change, and I mean, reasonableist party platform, it would certainly change.
Yeah.
I mean, up to and including much dismantlement.
Well, what's the relationship between, media companies make their money from advertising. There's got to be a massive chunk of media money going from political candidates every year. I think it's part of the reason why campaigns cost so much is from all the ads that they buy. So that relationship right there, I'm not against it. The First Amendment allows us to be freedom of the press, and you can lie your ass. I mean, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
And at certain levels, there's libel and slander and all that shit. But I mean, that relationship is very almost incestual, I guess. But it's certainly not comfortable where, I mean, it's just this circular money thing where it's like, we're going to pay you to cover, we're going to pay you a bunch of money to advertise, and then you're also interested in covering this, and that's why we want to pay you to do this, and it's this circle. And
Who was the kid that sued some of the networks
Sandman?
a couple years ago? Yeah.
Yeah, the COVID or the Covington Catholic.
Right.
Yeah.
So that whole situation. I mean, so that's the only one I can think of where there was
Nobody knows how much money he
repercussion.
got. I'm not sure.
I've heard numbers. Who knows if
Well, he sued
what
for,
they're true.
tens of millions of dollars,
Right.
but it was.
But there
you know,
was.
sort of
I know there was an actual judgment on that.
Yeah.
They just found it in the couch at the White House. They're like, fine, here you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we were
going to spend this on
We were
lobster
going to give this to
dinners
Ukraine, but you can have this.
Whatever. We're going to spend this on lobster dinners for last night's fucking gala. For patting ourselves on the back
that
for
didn't-
being senators.
That didn't seem to make a dent in
No, of
any
course
of this.
not. It set
No.
a precedent, though.
No, the media doesn't. They don't have to apologize. Remember back in the day when they would get shit wrong? It'd be in the 7th page or some shit on the, but they'd retract things and say. But Americans don't even care. Like if you fact check all these things that have been said over the last several years to us that we've been super serious over, both sides. If you just go back and fact check it, it's like none of that shit has been true, and no one gives a fuck. And it's been not true this whole time, but you're still
And if you
arguing
prove that
the
it's not true,
thing.
you're a bigger cunt to the person that wants to believe it.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
it's become common
weird.
practice to
Weird shit.
when a news outlet says something that ends up being proved false in a very big way, they won't come out and go, hey, that thing we talked about, we fucked that up. They'll just quietly delete it.
Yeah.
And
just scrub
say
it from the
nothing,
website or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, cool.
It's ridiculous.
It's so helpful, guys.
It's so ridiculous. But you'll still see people arguing about the things that were debunked years ago. Where you're
Yeah.
like, dude, what are you talking about? Literally, all you have to do is just double check the thing that you believe.
Few
Just
clicks
double
away.
check.
It's a few clicks away.
Goofy shit.
Or I guess taps if you're doing it with your phone. It's funny. We always say
Yeah.
clicks, but like I'm
It
probably
is a
like
tap.
one of the few fuckers still clicking around the internet. It's like everybody's on there doing their phone.
It's all thumb shit.
But I feel that headlines are have become super nefarious as well. Like even on a local news level, like these vague headlines that make it seem like something super inflammatory, and then you get a couple paragraphs into the actual article, and it's like, oh, it didn't actually mean that. And it's like, I see what it means now, but if I was just to glance at the headline and take that as my little excerpt. Okay, I'll give you a prime example. This happened this week. Actually, might have been in the last day or two. I was sent an article or just a headline that said child sex trafficking ring exposed at Northern Quest Casino.
Right. I heard that.
Yeah, and that
What'd
was
you just
and that was the headline.
say that again?
It said the headline said, "Get off your phone. What are you doing?"
Do you really want to know what I'm doing?
No.
My apartment in Pierce possibly is flooded right now.
Oh
Oh, no.
Well, I don't feel like a dick for being mean to you. I'm not going to take it back.
You can't know that.
As you were. What I said, Jeff, was I got sent this headline, and the headline of the article said, "Child sex trafficking ring exposed at Northern Quest Casino."
It has to do with the little Discovery Land where you can take your kids and drop them off while you gamble. It has to be. No.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Fuck.
turned out sounds like not, but that's
bullshit,
what I
yeah.
mean about the headline, because you look at that headline as a layman and go, wow, Northern Quest
Never going there again.
Northern Quest was involved in a child sex trafficking ring. No, they were just happened to be using Northern Quest's premises, unbeknownst to Northern Quest, to operate and do
It was
this
it was a meat location. Yeah.
right. But it's like that headline. If I was the owner of Northern Quest, I'd be like, you motherfuckers.
I'd have my lawyer.
I was referring
Yeah.
to the joke that I was making about the last time I went to the casino.
yeah, that's right.
Realizing that
Watching
there
your
was a
kids.
discovery. There was
Yeah.
a daycare basically at the casino. I'm like, the one thing to keep people out of the casinos was having to be responsible for their children. Now they don't have to do that.
right.
Right. That's funny.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying is the same thing. I keep seeing these like celebrity ones where it's like Henry Cavill said this about Sandra Bullock and this thing, and it's some deflammatory thing, and then you get into it, and
Henry
it's like
Cavill's a gentleman, so don't believe anything.
right, exactly. But then you get into it, and it's like he actually said that during this moment that she needed that, and she thanked him for it, and it was this important thing, or
Right.
vice versa, whatever. And it's always out of context just to get you to do the clicking.
Right.
But the thing is, it's like, why are we keep forgiving I mean, it's not just some random like nerd site for comic books and shit. Like Star Wars fans unite. It's motherfucking CNN. It's MSNBC. It's Fox News. We let them get away with this shit.
Well, it's a simple answer.
And our local news.
It's a simple answer why people are, because if it fits what you feel about the other team, if you're on a team and it's not your team, you get to hate all the other ones. So anything negative that you see, it's almost like dopamine.
Yeah.
It's almost like gambling.
Yeah, it
right?
is. It is.
People are in love with the idea of staring at a horrific car crash.
Yep.
And I've seen train wrecks. They are pretty impressive to look at. It's terrible, but you still want to stare.
But you start developing this addiction when you get these headlines that light that same part of your brain up, where it's like, oh, whoa, 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 and then that's all you fucking want.
So
you don't really care. You start caring less and less about the truth of the issue, and you just care more about that, getting that like, ooh, that's fucked up. Ooh, that's fucked up. Oh, those bastards! Like, it's just
and there's nothing
super
do
unhealthy
about it. That's what we do. I wonder if some of the answers for some of the problems that we have with media lies in the people that own this shit. Like, I mean, a lot of the companies.
There's
a lot
a
of people that
sizable
own
amount
these
of the blame
companies.
that can be placed there, I think.
Yeah,
for sure.
because it's up to them to decide. They can bow to the things that are weird and that the pressures that go against the right thing to do, or relatively the right thing to do. It seems to me a lot of the owners of these private businesses can do the right thing. Like, whether you like free speech or not, and whether free speech is for the government and government places, but you can still be fucking all about freedom of expression on your platform or in your sphere of influence. You could be the guy that says you can yell whatever you want at Best Buy because I'm the CEO of Best Buy. And you can say whatever the fuck you want in here. Yeah. You can just yell about whatever. Not that I think that's probably the best idea.
Yeah, it's shitty because, as with most things, the honorable path is not usually the profitable path.
Right.
That's really it's not a matter of couldn't they just behave honorably? Of course they could.
But wouldn't you want to throw your money at honorable companies? I feel like that's actually the future of these businesses, because everything's getting more transparent.
Yeah.
The more honorable you are, the more I'm going to want to give you my money if I can. Or if you have a service that you have and your competitor's not honorable.
I feel that way, but I am not possessed of enough faith in humanity at large to think that they would do well across the board that way.
If there was an honorable media source, though, I think it'd do good.
Or how about,
I think it'd crush the fuck out of our current media
I would like
sources.
to hope that it would.
Well, you guys brought up the Babylon Bee. I respect them for their satire because they're very open. This is satire. This is not news. This is satire.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing.
Well, they have to be, yeah.
But it's...
And they're pretty open about what side
why do
they're
they
on, what team they're on, too, which is good.
Why do they have to be? Because news channels don't have to be.
Right. Well,
So
they're
why
all
are
kind
they?
of entertainment, really, when it comes down to. But
Yeah, no shit.
the satire goes so far because there's zero facts involved. I'd say with CNN, there's sometimes facts involved, or Fox News. They're both. Sometimes they use facts to make the points that they make on TV.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes. I don't know for sure.
Sometimes.
Actually, I watched that shit. I used to watch both those things all the time.
Yeah.
I used to be I'd saturate myself. And just a few years ago, I would just listen to both sides. I'm so glad I don't do that anymore. It's so gross.
I still just kind of feel at the end of the day like we as a species are just not yet ready to be this connected to all of us. You know what I mean? Like we're definitely ready to be connected to like our communities. I think
internet
like
for
size
local
of a group,
local internet.
And what sucks is I see the positive value and power of this little fucking black box I hold in my hand.
There's
And I
huge
try so hard to get it out there. But it only matters to very, very few. Where if I say something shitty and ridiculous, it's crazy how much traction that gets.
Yeah.
I've played games with
that
it.
promote that. It actively promotes the garbage and suppresses the good shit because the garbage gets more clicks.
I've done it intentionally just to see how it would go. And every time it's the ridiculous bullshit that everybody loves.
So the cell phones are great. The computer in your pocket is fucking awesome. Social media is strange because there's certain platforms that have these algorithms that encourage.
Could be so good though.
But it encourages, like we talked about last week. It's without doubt ages 10 to 14. If you're a young female, especially, you're fucking in danger at any level of exposure to Instagram. At any level of it is what the data shows.
I'll sooner hand you a loaded gun.
It's basically
than
the
an
same
Instagram account,
right? It's playing games. So it's
Which
social.
in my life, that's probably going to be true.
Yeah,
But it's
I'll
not
teach you how to
all-
use the gun. We'll have a good time.
Yeah, but it's not all social media, and it's probably not even like Instagram's probably great for a lot of people, you know. And some people can turn it off, turn it on, only spend a little bit of time, blah blah blah.
You can choose to use it correctly.
Yeah, well, I mean, and here's back to the thing again, where it's like it comes down to it's Facebook, Meta, whatever, they own Instagram. So it's really up to the leadership of this private company to say, we're looking at this data, and it says here that it's hurting girls at ages 10 to 14, like severely, like increasing things ridiculously, and that's the correlation. We have some sort of obligation, because we live here on the planet with fucking everyone else, to not do that anymore, to work on that, to fix that. And what you kind of see is like Facebook, Meta, whatever, they're kind of incentivized to be like, well, we found this study over here that says it's actually really good for them, and that like this has nothing to do with the drastic increase of.
Who paid for the study? We did.
Google too. It wasn't just us. And so you're kind of like, I don't know, but you know, social media is fucking amazing because it brings people together with people with good intentions. When they come together with social media, it is fucking beautiful. And I can speak for the whole SKATCAST universe. Like, all
without
the people,
social media, I wouldn't have hundreds of awesome people in my life. So
right.
Look at
But
our
there's some
look at our
parts-
Discord channel as an example.
It's fantastic.
I've seen like maybe 2 negative things on there since its inception,
Right.
and they were like like they were just like bleep, like not even. It was just like, hey, quit it.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? And it's like there's not an insignificant number of people on there, and it's a kick-ass community.
Yeah.
You know?
and when there is any type of quote unquote conflict,
Right.
it's really cool to just watch respectful people have actual a dialogue and talk
Yeah,
through
it's
things
like-
and go, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Here's
Yeah.
why that's shitty, and you know,
Yeah.
like, this is how it makes me feel.
Why can't the rest of the world be like that?
Yeah. Well,
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's more fun to shout in the street, I guess, but it gets old. It gets old real fast. Do you guys remember when Instagram pre-Facebook? Do you remember it before
No,
Facebook bought it? I do.
Well, before Facebook bought it, yeah, I think so, but not.
Instagram was cool as shit before Facebook bought it, because it was just like it was social media, but it was all centered around photography. So it was just basically like a bunch of people, a bunch of like professional all the way down to amateur photographers that were just like competing to see who could take the cooler picture and put filters on it, you know.
And then came
and then
the selfie camera,
yeah.
and it became.
And
whole
maybe
other
I'm
influencer.
looking back with rose-colored glasses, but I remember, man. I've had my Instagram since Instagram was like in beta, because I was just like, cool pictures, you know. And I like, you scroll back to the beginning of my Instagram, and it's like grainy cell phone pictures of clouds that look like dragons and shit, you know. And like that was Instagram back in the day. It wasn't like chicks wearing fishnet shirts with their nips hanging out of them. And
I'm not opposed to that necessarily.
well, me neither, but I'm not going there for it either. Like,
Yeah,
there's porn websites. I don't need my porn websites on Instagram necessarily.
For sure.
You know. So anyway, just a little reminiscence from my part. I miss when that particular social media was.
I always thought Instagram was the less toxic because of the way the features
was.
were. Yeah, and it's still less toxic than Facebook and Twitter. I mean, there's no place more
Yeah.
toxic than Twitter and
Marginally,
Facebook.
yes.
So.
I noticed that I was able to develop my algorithm or whatever. Everything that comes through my page is positive shit. Hard. Go get off your ass. Do something.
You really are in charge of what you see on your feed. It's ridiculous that you can block anything you want.
It takes a lot of work though, man. Like I did the same thing with my Instagram, but it's like you gotta fucking sit there for hours and set that
True.
shit up and fine tune it if you really want to have a custom experience, which I guess is worth it.
I just find the more positive shit I like, the more it gives me, or the more
That's true, yeah.
the more challenge your mind stuff. Really,
Yeah.
challenge your
It's like, oh, you
personality.
like this? And
Well,
you
it's
get
a little different when you're a performing musician too, because then there's this whole like expectation of like, I'll follow your page if you follow mine, and I'm like, I don't follow anybody's
Yeah, I don't wanna-
page.
I don't wanna-
Like I don't do
I
that.
don't endorse you, but please endorse me.
Right? Exactly.
I'm more important than you.
I'm more self-centered than you are.
It
Let's
was
see
a
how it
roundabout
goes.
way of saying that I'm pretentious.
We all kind of are. Well, okay, last question on this, on the media role. Should government be able to pay media companies taxpayer money to manipulate the media in any way ever?
You know that's fucking ridiculous.
So ridiculous. Okay, so that's happening in your world today, guys. Don't worry about it. All right, now on to fuck this, yay this.
Here.
Yeah. I'm gonna go yay this thing this time because I want to.
Yay?
Yeah, I got to.
Taking a Yeezy?
We got it since it snowed. Yes, since it snowed so fucking much in this area. Grocery delivery and the people that do the grocery delivery. Yay, fucking heroes. And I don't ever want to go back to when you just couldn't do that.
I don't know, Zach. How well did it work out for you today?
I'm a little hungrier than I could have been. Got a little later.
You're still depending.
You know what?
Even more. You're depending even more on somebody to come through for you than going to the grocery store yourself.
I'm not. It's not like a life or death thing. I just want my fucking sausages so I can feed my dog, and I want to eat my food. No, even though that they were late today or didn't even come today, we had to cancel it and stuff. It's snowing like fucking schmaggity outside. It's still, what a great, neat service that is. And through this time
cool.
where it was
it's
bullshit.
A cool, fast
I mentioned I was in a car
busy.
for 6 hours today to come to this show.
He's a grouchy cunt. This
You'll
guy.
be all right. You can make it 4 blocks away to go to the grocery store.
So I'm a little bit of a hypocrite for making fun of you, and I'll tell you why.
Throw down.
I don't get my groceries
I'm
delivered.
speaking for Mrs. Scriptkeeper here too, so she's going to come after you guys if you go too hard.
I don't get my groceries delivered ever. But it's not because I'm against it necessarily. It's just one of my handful of excuses to force myself to get out of my house because I work at home. I'm just like, no, you're going to go deal with humanity, and you're going to go not through self-checkout, and you're going to do the whole, and you're going to get a not an insignificant amount of groceries. And so it's just like part of my, like, I make myself do it. I honestly hate going to the grocery store. Like, ever since I lived,
I don't know anybody who
I
loves
lived with that sociopath that, like, going to the grocery store just automatically meant I was in for hell for the rest of the day, you know. So I was just like, my brain still associates the grocery store with, like, oh, your day's about to go to shit, motherfucker, you know. So
we'll have to hear more of those stories.
I forced myself to do it partially for that because I don't want that to be my forever association if I can help it, and also to get out of the house. But I get, like, salads and shit delivered to my house for lunch like 3 to 5 times a week probably.
No shit.
From DoorDash drivers, which, like, the people at Qdoba probably recognize my name at this point. They're like, oh, Shaiden again. Tell them we said hi.
It's good to build rapport with people then.
But it's not born from a sense of laziness. Like, I'll do it when there's food in my house. It's just a matter of I'm too busy to take an hour and lose my momentum and cook. Like today, zero chance I would have eaten if I would have cooked my own food. I just would not have eaten because I did not have a single spare minute this whole day, and I won't until probably 2 a.m.
Yeah.
You know, so I was well, I want to eat something that's not shit. I don't want to just eat some instant, you know, garbage or just live on protein bars. So I have somebody deliver a salad, and I'm very thankful, and I tip them well.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
The service is great. You know, I mean, I order shit delivered to me too, just not groceries, but, you know, the last thing I bought was some bed sets for the kids. You know, it was nice that they delivered it. I didn't have to go to a fucking mall and go pick it out. I'm appreciative of that. But as far as like groceries and stuff like that, I still just, I understand why people do it. It's very convenient. But my thought is, like, for the most part, I mean, I like to go out and kill my own meat. I can at least get in my car and go to the grocery store and go through the aisles that they all have it nicely lined up and set up and displayed for me, and go through a line and talk to a human being and pay it. Notice I didn't say self-checkout.
So for you, it's a matter of providing for yourself. Like, it's not necessarily.
Yeah, I get to live in society.
I don't feel like I needed to provide for myself when it comes to the kids' bunk beds, but when it comes to, like, my sustenance for me and mine and shit,
I surely get off my ass and go
put in some effort.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's just how I feel. It doesn't make me right or wrong. It's just my personal.
Yeah, I don't feel like I have to prove anything to myself that has to do anything with the grocery store, so I just kind of let it come to me. They can bring the trail mix to me. I don't need to go find it at the store.
Like, the grocery store is beneath me. They deserve to bring it to me.
No, it doesn't feel like that big of an adventure where it's like you get to talk to people. It's like, not really. I mean, they're not happy to talk to you. Have you been to the grocery store where somebody's excited to talk to you?
You know, when I move up on the mountain, I mean, there's a lot of people up there that I mean, Costco delivers up there. I think it's a 48-hour delivery, I believe. Might even be 24-hour delivery. But you can call up Costco and order, and they don't even charge extra to bring it up there,
Right.
up on the mountain there. And I understand why people do it because of all the weather and snow, and it can be too dangerous to go drive an hour and a half to go to the closest Costco. So I understand why they do it.
Also, people in America work fucking hard. We're the hustle culture here. All over the world, people work hard. But that's it. People are working hard. Just like you said today, Shaiden, you had no time. I have no time to go. Grocery store is 10 minutes to go somewhere is fine. 20, 30 minutes in the store, depending on how busy it is, not fine. Not fine. That's way more money if I sit at home.
I think you have
work.
much more of an argument from that position for sure, because that's how I justify that. Getting a salad delivered for lunch, because I'm just like, look, I don't have time. Like, if you're like,
Yeah.
dude, it takes you 20 minutes to make a salad and sit down and eat it. Yep, but
Right.
I did not have 20 minutes.
Plug in 75 hard right now. Here's what's going to happen if you actually do the 75 hard thing and you do it, like really, really do it. Do what it says.
Meal prep.
You are going to, meal prepping is really huge in it, first off.
That's what I'm doing.
But you are going to recognize how much time you just absolutely dick off in a day. And you'll be like, because it sounds like so much stuff to do in this program. And then when you start doing it and you start cutting out these other things that you used to do, you can do all this shit and you have a ton of free time to do other things. You're like, how did I make it through a day before? And now I have all this time and I'm doing extra.
Not one time would I ever
think
choose
that's
to use
true.
my spare time to go to the grocery store, though.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
I think that's true for a lot of people, but I think for me, it's just going to translate into 90 minutes less sleep every day. 'Cause I'm not really dicking off that much,
Right.
to be honest. I mean, you guys know me.
Yeah, I mean, I worked 14-hour days and I was able to do it. So
Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm saying. I'm on board. I'm doing it, but I'm just, it's not going to be a matter of, I'll just play less video games. I don't play hardly any video
I know.
games.
you don't
know.
understand because you haven't done it yet, but I've done it. Just trust me, it's going to happen.
Okay.
All right. Well, I work like 16, 18-hour days, and I definitely don't feel like I have. I'm still going to try.
Jeff thinks he knows.
Oh, you're going to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to do 75 hard. You've been saying that you weren't going to do it the whole
I
time.
know. I like fucking with you. It's just a hobby of mine, I guess.
Well, on your walk, go to the grocery store.
I'm literally not going to go to the grocery store ever again for this reason.
You might as well
Just
give
because
up, Jeff. It
I
ain't
mean, it's
happening.
like the same thing. It's
It was
like
just
Jeff,
a suggestion.
Jeff, you know that electricity goes in your house. I need you to go out there and fucking get some oil out of the ground, dude, and
You're going to
pump
walk
that.
back with bags of
It's
groceries.
kind of the
Look,
same thing.
if
like,
I had the equipment, the ability to get my own oil out of the ground, you fucking know I would.
but think how much waste of time that is. Otherwise, you could just take the electricity
I'd rather waste
and
the
learn
time
how to.
than the
You could
money.
use a book. You could read a book.
See, that's the difference of philosophy.
It is.
Yeah,
My
that's the
time
difference of
time is
philosophy.
so much
Yeah.
more valuable to me than fucking going to the grocery store, pick out my own jar of olives. Like, I don't give a fuck. Pick the olive jar for me.
My time is more valuable to me than any amount of currency. Like, that's what
Exactly.
I've told employers that, because they're like, what motivates you? And I'm like, not money.
No.
But eating
Perhaps
kind of
a shit thing
motivates
to say
me,
to
so
an
I'll get off my
employer.
ass and go to the
They're
grocery
like, well, that's
store.
all we really have for you because we want your time. What'd you say, Jeff?
I said, but eating motivates me, so I'll get off my ass and go to the grocery store and get a workout in at the same time. I'm actually saving time in my mind.
Right. Well,
Yeah. Well, I'll give you that. When I go to the grocery store, I never only go to the grocery store. Like, I work it into like other
the whole
things.
thing.
I
Yeah,
got a
all
whole
the stuff at
circuit,
once.
So I'm like,
Exactly.
okay, I'm killing multiple birds with one stone.
right.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what you start doing. You're like, oh, I need to plan this day so I can get all this shit in. So you
But-
plan it.
Yeah,
Then
but
you
I don't
realize,
like I'm not trying to
but
do
to
chores.
Zach's point,
But then
to
you realize
Zach's
you have
point,
windows.
Jeff, I'm going to defeat your argument a little
I
bit
don't wanna
here,
do
because
chores.
to Zach's point, with a little bit of creativity, about 2 minutes worth, you could plan it so you do your other 2 stops when your groceries are waiting the moment you get home, and you didn't have to go to the store at all, so you saved 30 minutes in the grand
it's
scheme.
definitely another way, but it's still depending on someone. It's an extra step of depending on someone else.
You know, the first thing that somebody does when they start to make money and they want to start making more money is they pay people to do their chores so they don't have to waste their time doing their laundry, doing the cleaning, doing all the grocery shopping. It's the first thing that they do, so they can
get
use the time
butlers.
that they get paid, hundreds or thousands of dollars an hour wisely and not spend it going down the aisles of a store that you know what I mean? Like, nobody Nobody that's working or running a company.
Well, you're right. I would pay other people all that time so I could go out and get my own food.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
That's for sure. You'd be out there.
That's what I mean. The whole debate's pointless because it's just purely
It's subjective as fuck.
It's a difference of philosophy. Like,
how about this? If you go to the store, make it fucking awesome. Own the store, have fun, double up, get lots of things done.
Meet some people.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Make
Like,
some
that's-
contacts.
okay,
Business
sorry, I didn't mean-
contacts.
I just go to the store for the sake of my own sanity. I don't have anything to prove to anybody. I just
When I was single, like I would just go to the store just to pretend that I wasn't, or like that I was working towards not being single, kind of thing. Like I'd go to Safeway and be like, "Those are pretty girls," and I'm part of society too. But I was just living isolated, like I don't have anything going on. But anyway, so grocery shopping
that's
can
hilarious
be.
because I can so picture you doing
There's
that.
something to be said for convenience, but convenience makes me feel fucking lazy. I guess that's the best way to sum it up.
I get that, and I get that, but I'm not lazy when I'm asking for that convenience. So that's why I'm like, no, I'm not doing that because I don't want to go to this. I don't want to go to the store, but it's not like I can't.
But
I just really want to do the thing that's I get to do. I'm
even
lucky
if
I
it's
get
justifiable in my life to do something like that. If it makes me feel bad about myself, I shouldn't fucking do it. And that's just how I operate. It makes me feel
Don't you
lazy.
feel a little
so
shame after jerking off in the dog's mouth, dude?
No,
Come on, you should stop doing it.
Well, I don't have a dog anymore.
I'm just kidding. I don't know why I added that last part.
Your
Answer
weird
in terms of
childhood's
the dog's
coming out
mouth.
there. Oh God! He's like, I was one of 18 different fucking. What are kind of dogs? What do you have?
Labrador
retrievers. Yeah. Sometimes you come in each other's mouth. It's no big deal.
Yikes! Yeah. Well, I set
You
that one
got
up for
cats,
myself.
you
didn't
got
I?
dogs. All right.
Gross. All right. Well, let's.
Just a Ride podcast does not endorse any form of bestiality.
No bestiality. Goodness gracious. Wes, everyone's
But
had.
we will joke about it.
But on to animals, though. Real quick advice. This is advice I give myself. This is the gerbil world. This is all I do, and we probably talked about this here too. I never know what I've talked about here anymore. Too many podcasts. But basically, whenever things get weird and people start arguing or really any kind of conflict, I just zoom out in my head. I pretend I'm in a cloud above everything and looking down on the world like a cunt. And I picture all the things that are making all the talking noises, that are arguing and making all the dumb points and talking about their damn opinions and feelings. And I turn it into little gerbil people. And so and gerbils don't speak English in my little gerbil world. So they squeak at each other and they just squeak. And when you look at little animals, I grew up at a fucking pet store, can you tell? When you look at little animals just barking at each other, it's silly. You're like, what possibly could that be about? And really, when you think of humans that way, it's kind of the same thing. Like we're fighting about, he's got a nuclear missile pointed at this nuclear missile, and it's like, what are they arguing about though? What is it? They're like, well, they don't share the same kind of way that we like to share, and they have different kinds of ideas for infrastructure, and it's like, God damn it, that's nothing. You're just so it breaks down like that, and same with fighting between couples.
So were you
and
just
stuff.
looking at me and Jeff as gerbils a
Fuck
few
yeah,
minutes ago?
little gerbils fucking just.
No, because that really wasn't a.
That wasn't even a spat. You guys,
Yeah, we weren't even arguing. It was
just loves.
I was arguing. Fuck both of you. Take me seriously.
But it sounds like you've used this before too, Shaiden. Just the idea of kind of zooming out and looking down, trying to change perspective literally.
Yeah.
And say, is this...
I try to do that in all kinds of different situations. That's a brand of self-awareness, I think, is just like being able to step outside of yourself and look down upon the situation and go, God, this really isn't as big as it seems when I'm standing in
exactly.
it.
Yeah, I'm taking this way too serious because it just looks to any other creature that's going by just like a bunch of ridiculous things just barking at each other. Just
it's like
buzzing.
a little brain hack in a way, because it's like it's allowing you to sort of circumvent your chemicals.
For your own hubris for a second.
A minute, Or it's just like when you're in the situation and you're just like, no, you're a cunt. No, I said you were a cunt first, so that makes you the first cunt. And then you just step out of it and you're like, I am a cunt. Who cares? You know what? You're right. I'm a cunt. Argument over.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that was it. Gerbil world. Hopefully that works for some of you. It doesn't work for me all the time. There's some things that my chemicals just get going and I can't. It doesn't work. So there's other things to remember. But it was one tool where when the world is acting a fool sometimes, or I'm acting a fool, it's like I'm a little gerbil barking at another little gerbil over meaningless little pellets in a fucking sandbox. So what the fuck?
My whole life, those gerbils that are doing that,
We're fighting each other.
then call
killing-
me to come fix their little gerbil world. So I
has a different
got to start
view of the
talking gerbil. It's
I can vividly smell that fucking sawdust bedding soaked
Of the
in,
gerbils?
soaked in gerbil piss, and you know the smell I'm talking.
Oh God,
about.
yeah. We all,
Just
everyone
that
that's listening now.
stale, pungent sort of.
We were eating, Shaiden. Shaiden, people were eating. You ruined their lunch.
Now you can all smell it too.
All right, last little bit for our ride for Christmas, which we talked to Zero about Christmas.
A little bit.
Okay.
2%.
2%.
Like the milk.
The thing I learned this week by Shaiden Hutchman,
Good Lord.
and this is Chat GPT.
Right. So this is something that people are going to be freaking out about. Some people are, but like everybody should be freaking out about this right now. And
Good freak or bad
and
freak?
They're not. Well, depends on your perspective. It's cool to me, but to some people it's going to suck real bad. But we're on this like enlightenment up curve for like a technical socioeconomics term, but we're on this like up curve of enlightenment with AI right now, it feels like, because AIs are just popping. I mean, every time I open the internet, it seems like, oh, there's this new AI, or there's like 6 different AIs you can use for image generation, like Midjourney now.
Yeah.
I don't think Midjourney was the first, but they're still the best that I've found.
And they're
But-
popular, so there's going to be more.
Right. But Chat GPT is that, but you can put in a text prompt and ask it almost virtually anything.
Fuck.
Like, for an example, write me a professional looking resume for an engineering company. And within moments it will spit it out, and it's actually damn good. More impressive example, I was telling my dad about this, and I said, I read somewhere that you can feed it, because he's a web developer. I said, I read somewhere that you can feed this thing code that isn't working and say, hey, this code's not working, how do I fix it? And it'll go through the code and be like, oh, right here, change this argument to this, or close this bracket, and then try it, and then boop, code fixed. Or what my dad literally did this morning and sent me a video of, he said, build me a web page with these parameters and go, and it spat out the HTML code for it. He pasted it into his web editor, perfectly decent framework, and then he said, okay, give me a custom style sheet. No, didn't specify any details, just said, give me a custom style sheet so that it looks not like just a wall of text. Spits out CSS, pastes it in there, looks like it's like a perfectly respectable web page.
Shit.
In minutes. I mean, people are like, help me write a note to get to know my neighbors. Help me do, like, literally write my thesis.
Right.
Kind of shit,
That's
you know what I mean?
I said fuck at the very beginning.
Once again,
It's like,
could be used for good, probably could be used for bad.
it's
It
for
will be-
100% going to be used for bad.
Okay, yeah, wait a
will
second.
be.
Yeah. We're talking about
And good.
the human cunts that everybody is. It's going to get used for bad.
Yep.
Fuck
100%.
yeah, it is. It is being used for bad currently at the moment, right?
And there's, I mean, to their credit, the companies that are doing well with this AI development, they're putting in a lot of fail safes so that people aren't abusing them, like write me porn, or
Right.
Midjourney make me porn, or
Right.
or gruesomely violent shit, like they're within a good degree of reason, they're moderating it so
And
people
see, that's-
can't abuse it,
That's
But-
the thing. It's up to those company owners where it's like, we're going to have to ask these people, like, it's up to you. You get to do what you want, but would you consider not being, just because you can, not putting porn on there, or putting, whatever. It
it would be fun.
It's going to be a weird world in the future here.
Something that just occurred to me. Between this week and next week, I'm going to go on ChatGPT. It's free right now because it's still in the learning phase, right? So it's going to cost money at some point, perhaps exorbitant amounts of money, whatever people will pay for instantaneous generation of text-based things,
Yeah, a thesis. How much would you pay for your thesis to be written? Fuck. Before they catch on.
Right.
8 people turn in the
I
same
will,
thing.
right.
Right.
Oops. I will go on there and briefly explain the premise of our podcast and ask it to write a description for our Facebook page.
Okay.
And we'll see how it stacks up against the one I wrote.
Okay. Hell yeah. That's fun.
It's a square off, because that's what a lot of people are worried about with these AI, especially Midjourney doing art and stuff. People that are actual artists by trade are just like, fuck, okay, cool. So the AI just does my job now?
And in some cases, it takes the art from artists,
Right.
and amalgamates it into a fucking thing where you actually, I remember some of our friends actually in the community were saying that there's actually like the signatures of some of the artists that were part of the amalgamation of images
no
will show
shit.
up in these amazing
I mean,
artwork.
at least their signature got in there, I guess. but-
Part of it though, you're just like, oh, that's somebody's name. It's just like an L at the end or some
Right.
shit, and you're like, oh man.
Yeah, and I mean,
So-
as an artist, and having a lot of visual artist friends, I totally get the frustration on that.
Big time.
But at the same time, I mean, maybe this will change over time, but I can still tell the difference.
You can't fight the signal though. You can't. I mean, people tried to fight Napster. Look at how that went. You can't really fight free source shit like that. And
Right.
and AI is not going to go backwards.
I see the value,
Just because
but-
you can doesn't mean you should. It's up
It's
to
really
these.
cool. It just feels like. Do you guys feel like things are changing lately, like on a larger scale? Like it just feels like every time I look around, I'm like, that's fucking not this, like drastically different than it was just a short time ago.
I got to be honest.
all over
I'm
the
spending
place.
so much time out of society now. If I'm not here, I mean, yeah, I've got to be in my little hometown, taking care of kids and stuff, and doing stuff there. But most of our time now is spent in the mountains. I'm so lost with what's going on in society.
Yeah, but you're so happy about it though.
Okay, oh yeah,
It's the best.
It is. I mean, I feel like
Jeff
I've gone
has the answer here, guys. I think
20
for
to
sure.
25 years back, and it's almost like a restart. I mean, it's definitely a restart for me, but it's like a restart of life and being able to bring in some really good values into the kids' lives that it's just not going to be part of the world anymore
No.
if you're going to live in a city.
Yeah. Oh shit, dude.
Yeah. So no, I'm getting more and more lost and more shocked every time I come home of just the amount of people. And it's not that I hate people; I love people, but I want to be around the 500 people up there,
Right.
for the most part. And people are like, come up and visit me. That's good. I'll show you some really cool shit.
Yeah.
And then go home.
Yeah, there's a ton of merit to that, man.
Big time.
I've always tried to have one foot in each world.
Yeah, I'm literally going backwards, and it's great.
That is what you do, Shaiden, is you are literally like, it's kind of between, I wouldn't say both of us, but Jeff definitely, and like some fucking super city guy. That's where
Right.
you sit. I'm kind of not there. I'm more city guy.
I want to be. I don't like fitting into predefined boxes, so it's probably just me.
You just
doing it
fight
because I'm
everything,
a
like,
cunt. Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm special. I'm not going
Well, for the world that I'm transitioning into, for me to do a podcast is really a strange thing.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
And I don't want to stop doing this. I love this. There are things about technology and being able to reach people that this is the avenue I've been looking for my whole life.
Now, dude.
Yeah.
No, this
You
is
signed
the
a 10-year contract. You're done for. We
but
own
this
your
is the
ass.
avenue that I've been trying
Damn
to find to be able to do what I want to do. I wasted so many. Well, that's not true. I didn't waste my years in law enforcement. I learned a lot, but now I get this. I don't want to give this up ever.
Right. But you're
But
not
that
living
doesn't.
in the fucking
but
city
I'm
for it.
done with the city. Yeah.
I respect that so much.
Yeah, that's fair, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and you had arguably one of the rougher doses of cities.
Yeah.
Like, as far as it goes, like I haven't had the rosiest experience in cities, but I've had a way better experience than you did.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It was fun,
Yeah.
but I had my fun, and now I want to live the life I want to live.
Yeah.
So
No, that's good, man.
Grizzly Adams.
There's a lot of days where, especially, I mean, I go out into the woods for days at a time, and I love it. I'm perfectly content out there, and I feel, at this point in my life, I feel proficient enough to know that if I had to survive out there, I could, But that's ultimately what I want. I don't want to fail to be proficient on either side of the board.
Right.
Like
Same.
I want to be proficient and like up on the bleeding edge of things as far as how technology and society is progressing, but I also want to be able to just walk away from it and know that I'm not going to die.
Continue to build your knowledge about living in the
Right.
natural world. yeah.
between the two worlds, if you're in the woods, you got a lot better chance of living than somebody who's in the city.
Depends.
Depends on who you are. Me,
Yeah.
I'd be dead in the weekend.
I was gonna
but if I was
say-
trained and I
But that's not. But if
Yeah.
you chose to learn and understand
Right.
that life more, your chances of survival in any type of catastrophe would be greater than a lot of people who live in the city who depend on all the things that a city has: the malls, the stores, the deliveries, electricity,
Right.
for that matter. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I love my hot showers and my electricity, but if I don't have it, I know what to do to create it. generators and shit like that,
Yeah.
which is still amazingly built things, but you have to get the feel for it and run it.
Yeah.
No,
Live on
potatoes.
less.
Just potatoes.
Potatoes too. Yes.
There's a whole
Potato.
field of potatoes to run my Nintendo.
I can't remember how to do that experiment, but potatoes do actually generate
Yeah, they
electricity.
Yeah. Fucking Nintendo potato. These are the Nintendo potatoes. All right.
Nintendo.
Fuck. I want
I'm
to see
gonna
that.
make Midjourney make a Potendo.
Yes.
Potendo
please do.
64.
Nintendo. All right. This is the show. That's it. That was fucking fun.
Did we make it?
We made a ride all the way to the end.
Wow.
Nobody lost
It
any
only
limbs
hurt me
that
a little
know.
bit. I scraped
Hurt
my
a little
knee.
bit.
But
I said a lot of dumb things. You said less dumb things.
I ate some bread. It was delicious.
We did
I
eat
don't-
bread.
Yeah,
in
we
the
talked
middle
with
of
our
the show.
mouths full.
Yeah, I don't even eat bread hardly ever. Now I'm probably going to die of gluten overload or something. I don't know. That's probably a medical thing.
Gee. Well, we heard it here. Shaiden's last podcast with us. It was pretty okay. Merry Christmas and all that.
I've been better.
Well, thank you for joining us. Another long week here at SKATCAST. We hope you had fun with us. Thank you to our trusted turd triad, Don the Shitbox Wizard at Facebook in our shitbox, Chris the Discord Dookie Slayer, Chris Brooks in the Discords, SKATCAST Discord, fun place.
Hell yeah.
Of course, Bordy Sunyata, our quartermaster, always doing cool shit, doing the research for us. Some of it for the dipshit files and also lots of behind-the-scenes stuff. Thanks to you two cunts for being here. That was fun.
Yeah, you're welcome, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I got. So
Thanks to the Godhead. Thanks to the garbage disposal. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, wife. Sorry. Go ahead.
So I just kind of want to say thanks to a lot of people have personally reached out to me, told me a little bit of story or just bullshit a little bit. I enjoy it. You know, if you're going to take the time to reach out to me and talk to me, I'm going to talk to you back because, I mean, you hear my voice, but you don't really know who I am. And if you're taking the effort to contact me, I'm going to take the effort to find out who you are.
Hell yeah.
And I enjoy it and I appreciate it. So, and I hope that.
So here's his personal phone number. Ready?
No, everybody's got the Facebooks, so.
Okay. No personal phone number. Text me for his phone number. I'll give it to you.
I had a guy reach out. I don't want to butcher his last name. But his first name is Tim, I think it's Alsop. Anyway, he reached out to me, and he came from Tigard, back where I went. So we ended up going to same junior high, knew some of the same teachers.
Cool.
There was some dirt that he grew. He's a little bit younger than I am, but there was some dirt about some teachers that was rumored all through. It probably still rumored today. I was the person that actually saw what happened and lied for the teachers. But yeah, he was kind of shocked at
You have
that.
to tell us that story eventually.
Oh, it's pretty simple. Some
Okay.
teachers were banging at school and I
Oh.
caught them.
Oh.
And
And you caught him.
yeah, and I told one person it went around school like wildfire, and then I lied to the administration. And one of those teachers ended up becoming the principal later on when he was a student.
So you protected the
So,
teacher.
Yes, I did.
Nice. You're a bootlicker even back then.
Wow.
Wow.
What do you mean? I lied for him.
I'm kidding.
Well, yeah.
Authority figures, that's all I'm saying.
Since
I'm
we're
a child, and I apologize to all of you.
Since we're being sincere and telling thank yous, thanks to all of our patrons who hopped on the JarPod Patreon. You guys are just super killing it. I know we had some new ones. I'll shout them out a little until I find somebody I recognize. Somebody's gonna get a free shout out here.
Yeah, do it. Fucking
But
A.
we got. I'm gonna mess this name up for sure. But Joaquim Bop with 2 P's. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
sir or madam. I can't tell. I'm sorry. Joaquin is probably. Who knows?
Joaquin?
We're not playing the game.
We're
Guessing
not playing
the gender
genetics
game.
Except for Joachim Kroll. Shit. what's going on?
We got Alan Sweeting
Yay.
hopped
yeah.
in there. Yeah,
up,
and
brother?
Sean Dop, D-O-P.
Yeah.
Dop.
Sean Dopp.
Dope. Sean Dope.
That's I haven't heard that name yet. Good.
He's dope. We got Matthew Pernar.
Matthew Pernar.
Matthew Pernar.
He's a fat cat
you
over
said
on...
it. You said it way better. 'cause
I
you
say his
knew.
name every week in SKATCAST world.
Oh, Matthew Pernar.
He's
And
actually-
then,
He actually has a ninja sword in Post-Apocalyptica for the Dave and Angus show. He's our ninja sword guy. He does some Shaiden stuff.
that's the
with
guy.
his ninja
That's the
sword,
guy
too.
that you want to be in the post-apocalypse. Is
Oh,
the
yeah.
guy with the ninja sword.
He gets real close to Jason Claser's ear. That's the running thing so far. Just can't keep. He just wants to get it close.
Well,
Right. Thank you, Matthew
Sword is a
Pernar.
close quarters weapon, man. We got our very own Brianna Kranzman
Yay, Brianna.
popped in there. Thanks, Bree.
Sovereign
Bree,
sister.
Bree. And then I think we're into all of our OG cunts that are still in there.
Yay.
Because I recognize Joe Labardi.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
But
Thank you
yeah,
guys.
you guys are all super awesome.
Especially you guys that are double dipping that are doing SKATCAST and
I think it was Joe was making
just
some
right.
guitar noises on one of the threads the other night. I believe it was Joe. I didn't comment on any of it. I was just secretly listening. But
I'm gonna get to a point with this where I'm just gonna during the editing I'm just gonna like read off all the Patreon names and then I'm just gonna squish it into like a fast forwarded 10 seconds. Just gonna
they're gonna be like, wait a minute, no.
hey, come on.
That's too fast. All right, well, that is our show. JustARidePod@gmail.com is how you get a hold of us.
Hell yeah.
SKATCAST.com, you can find some merch. That's our merch store. We've got
merch.
We've got the 2.7 for your fetishes.
We've been
got
saying for like 4 weeks we're
Raw
working on new
dog.
merch, so we got to get on that.
Oh, God.
yeah, we got to get those shirts out.
Damn, I suck.
Well, they're pretty simple. It's just words.
We
so.
have done some designing, and by we I mean mostly Zach, but
Pulling the trigger on that shit, though.
We're working on it. We're gonna get you some reasonablest party shirts, I think, and
definitely
some. I think we're working on a "Don't Be a Cunt" shirt.
Don't be a cunt.
No, thank you for sure.
Yeah, no
I
thank
just
you,
want
so,
to no
yeah.
thank you and
I
a
do
don't
too.
be a cunt.
So-
Actually, no thank you on the front and don't be a cunt on the back.
On the
Sounds
back would
great
be
to me. Fucking says it
or,
all.
or the other way.
Or-
the
yeah.
other way around would be better.
I want to say no thank you. I just want to be able to point to the shirt. Just whenever something comes up that
No. It's
just
better
like
to
the-
have it. Don't be a cunt and point to it. Trust me.
Actually, both of them would be useful. You kind of want to be able to take the sweatshirt off that says it, so you can. I don't know.
We're gonna design a reversible shirt, or you can wear it backwards. It doesn't matter.
Fuck yeah.
I think I vote for a no thank you sweatshirt with no thank you on the back,
Okay.
just so that anybody following me knows that I'm not into it, and then a "Don't be a cunt" shirt on the front, so that if somebody ignores the no thank you and taps me on the shoulder, I can just turn around and be like,
Yeah.
"Don't be a cunt."
All right. Yeah,
I
and you
tried
can
telling
open
you
it up
nicely.
zipper style.
Yeah.
That's
So,
fucking.
and some of the shit, like the Raw Dog in Life, if you've come in late in the episodes and you haven't listened to the first 5, those first original shirts that we made, a lot of people aren't going to understand those, like the shadow boxing.
Yeah, I'm wearing the
Well,
shadow boxing, I think, right now.
A lot of our shirts are going to be inside jokes, so just get used to that.
Yeah.
Or go back and listen to the episodes and get yourself caught up, and then you'll be like, oh, I get the joke now. And I have to have the
None of these are timely except for, I guess, this one since it's Christmassy, but fucking whatever.
Feliz Navidad.
Prospero
Thank you for listening to Jar Pod.
We
All the time I thought it was fleas on my dog. I didn't.
It is
on my
not.
dog.
All right, well,
right.
that's it. That's
We're
the
done.
fucking shit, bro. So you can check out our Patreon at
All right, let's go wrap presents.
patreon.com.
Get it done.
Just a ride. And Santa's coming to do stuff to your house and probably have,
Steal your shit.
give him cookies and booze. It'll be fine.
Yep. You
All
must pay tribute to the egregore.
Pay tribute. Don't let Santa get a DUI. As always, we'll talk at you in the future.
It'll seem like the present.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
It's just a ride. Whoa, oh, it's just a ride.
Bing. Bong.